But I think I wanted to set the tone for that before we get into this, because expectations could be broken here. And if Gen G doesn't get stopped here, I don't know if anyone is going to stop this team. So we are looking forward to hopefully a 3-game series. As the Pantheon does get banned away, we saw nerf to Vi. Obviously, not enough to change how her kit works and how incredibly strong it is to just pile on top of people with the point-and-click ultimate, which is the main reason why she's so popular. Not a shock to see that she's still going to be banned. Xin Zhao took a big hit to his armor growth, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to put him out of the meta, but I think it definitely gives you a little bit more space. I like the Talia and Yone bans here, and Viper has had some insane Kalista performances. So all 5 of these bans really make sense to me. The question is now, do you want to take away a Jace here, a Gwen, a Rumble, or do you just go for the Xin Zhao? They'll take the Rumble, and the Azir feels like a pretty easy lock-in here for Chovy now.
Yeah, it's very reliable. You know, it'll win into pretty much any matchup. And it is Chovy, so I feel like this does make sense. Both these top laners are willing to counterpick if they need to. Also, Keen is a guy who doesn't really care what he's playing into. He'll play Sion. He'll play Ornn if he feels like he needs to. Whereas Zeus definitely going for the more eclectic range of champions in the top lane.
Yeah. See what the response will be. The Talia obviously would have felt like the nicest and best one, but on red side you can't. They couldn't budget the Azir ban. They'll go for the Xin Zhao here for Peanut, which, again, Peanut's had some relatively inconsistent performances as of late, but it's still an incredibly powerful pick. And maybe they lock in something here for the bottom lane instead of grabbing Zeka's first, since the Azir is already locked in. We could see something like a Varus pick here, but no. Pointing to the Gwen. They banned the Rumble. They're hoping this matchup is going to work out. Keen can just play the Jace into this, but we've seen mixed results with that matchup.
Yeah.
Definitely a consideration for sure.
I feel like he can just slam it here. Jace a little bit less value into double shroud or double circles, right, with the Xin Zhao and the Gwen. But in terms of lane, I feel like it's fine. We are going to see, it looks like a Skarner here in the first game for Canyon.
Yeah, some of the armor growth nerfs may come into play when Skarner just impales Peanut and pulls the Xin Zhao in. Maybe you could just blow up the enemy jungler a lot easier now on this patch. And we've seen that in this specific matchup with Canyon as a player on the Skarner. He's really been the most consistent, only one who's still making this pick work, just locking down the Xin Zhao. Like, they've left the Xin Zhao up to counterpick the Skarner so many times, and he's still finding success with it. As it's the Nilly into the Gwen by Keen. Look at the win rate on this champion, by the way. Only our best players are locking this one. It is the difficulty extreme champion, but 88% win rate. Insanity.
Yeah, I mean, she just keeps winning. A lot of games of Zeus playing it, and other guys, even Kingan's picking it up.
It's also an incredible denial for the rest of the series as well. You know, Coach Kim mentioned that it was going to be a big pick they had their eye on coming into today's best of 3, and now it's no longer a strong flex pick here for Hanwha Life Esports in Game 2 and potentially 3.
I just looked up the actual numbers. Nidalee is 15-2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she doesn't really lose. Another champion here that has a very high win rate for the amount of games it's been played is Poppy, sitting at 21-11 and about a 65% win rate. So that's going to be taken off the board here for Duro.
It can be pretty frustrating to play these champs into Poppy. I'm curious about bottom lane, though, as Jhin will be removed. I think Jhin and Varus are the two that stand out the most to me with this comp. Jhin follows up on the melee setup here with the Xin Zhao, the Gwen, and then the Ahri charm dives very, very well. The Xayah makes a ton of sense as well in terms of denying a safe champion there. And the Ezreal could be a look here for Ruler because it can buy the additional space, much more difficult to lock down. And you have a pretty good front line already with this Skarner.
Unless it gets taken away.
Yeah, that's the other thing that they're definitely thinking about at this point, because Ezreal's good into Azir as well, good into the Skarner, and that will happen. So you could look for something like an Ashe pick here, but the Varus feels so viable because you have a decent front line. The range is going to feel really nice, and the ability to win a lot of lanes kind of by default. The other one is the MF, right, that has been incredibly popular. They're looking for the safer Alistar pick here. And this is great for early skirmishes, great for objective control, and it's just right now basically the top tier, S tier support pick in the LCK, and it's the most blinded support pick as well.
Exactly. I feel like it's just so good at R4 because you get to see the entire bottom lane before you pick your AD carry, so you know what you need to pick, and Alistar can basically go into anything. Looks like it's going to be Lucian Braum, so that's a duo we have seen more and more of, and definitely pretty strong.
Yeah, the ability to set up concussive blows here in this comp feels really good, and you have the Skarner for frontline already. As no way, Viper Senna, he's bringing it out already.
That didn't take long.
Chronicler mentioned it, you know, when we were talking about the patch notes. Every time they buff her soul rate, she just sneaks in. We haven't quite gotten to, you know, B1 ban territory just yet, but still very powerful and will scale really well with this composition. Gives it a lot of extra oomph too when the Xinjiao and the Gwen are going through. The heals can actually give you some additional sustain in team fights. But I do like what GENG have in terms of getting prio in the lanes early. Playing into this Alistar lane, the bottom side Ruler and Duro should feel very comfortable there. Yeah. Chovy is going to feel fantastic into the Ahri. He's our best mid laner in terms of laning by a large margin. And then Keen will have to finesse this matchup into the Gwen. I think that it's going to be a strong matchup for the Nidalee if you space correctly, but it is going to be skill-based, of course. You have some sustain, and with some jungle attention, I feel like prio on paper should be GENG's in this game, but there's a lot of agency with the Hanwha Esports comp when the game goes a little bit later on.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. I think GENG got the better of this draft. I think that some of the answers that Hanwha Esports were good, but they're not great, and they don't end up feeling as good as a five-man unit. Like, yes, they have good team fighting, but they don't really have the laning prio. The team fighting from GENG is also good, so it feels like GENG kind of get the upper hand here.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to catch this Gwen in side lanes with the Skarner as well, so not as safe as it would otherwise be. I think a very tough draft to pilot into, but GENG are LCK's strongest team.
We'll see what happens here. Game number 1, GENG up against Hanwha Esports right now.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, GENG versus Hanwha, 1 versus 2, and already Keen has found Zeus and gotten some grasp stacks, as you do.
Yep. Telling Zeus it's your turn to deal with this. Zeus hasn't played into very many Nidalees. Maybe played against Kingans once, if I'm not mistaken, but Peanut also going to be getting the brunt of this early level 1 cover. Got him. Stacking it up early.
That's so much value.
Vision too. Yeah, I mean, it's insane in a matchup you already have the level 1 advantage in to be able to pick up all that extra health and just continue to be a nuisance. As Alistar is going to hide under the turret, as he should, into a Braum lane at level 1.
Yeah.
And
got a little zoom in on Zeus. Maybe it's because he went for the Ghost in this game, which is not incredibly rare. Just going to be running away as fast as he possibly can.
Are they actually going to go for a crazy wraparound player?
Yes.
The answer is yes. And Senna at level 1, Alistar level 1, not very good into this.
All right, let's see where the concussive blows land. It is going to be onto the Alistar. Delight only gets the headbutt, but we should get the stun through. Ruler says, I've got better things to do. And it's going to be farming the minions as they both get 2 apiece.
So not a disaster, but a cool attempt nonetheless there. Well piloted by Viper and Delight. Headbutt all he has at level 1, but he used it well. And you can track these souls. This is their new UI. It's been a while since it's come out, but Senna hasn't been really relevant. It's cool that we'll be able to track that because as casters we're often just like, can you click on it? We don't really know where it's at. But we'll be able to keep an eye on that as the rate has been increased on this patch, and that is why Senna finds herself back in the forefront. No longer fasting Senna, of course. Nice dodge.
Yeah. It's fasting Senna. It's also going to be Ruler's first time playing Lucian in this LCK. Definitely has played it a bunch in the past. He is taking a bit of a beating here, and with the sustain that the Senna has, yes, it's still early on, but it does feel like Ruler just kind of taking damage and not really able to trade at all, as he's just focusing on trying to CS these minions down and get the push going.
Yeah, really nice trading by Viper that gets another double there. Zeus, you want to take every single stacked Q you can get. And
7-game winning streak.
Yeah, 7-0 right now. As Keen just wants to kind of space this one out, get as many grasp backs as possible, then eventually just become kind of too big to fail, so he can continue to build that advantage. See Ruler go for a little bit of a cheater recall here. Is going to back and see what he can pick up. Grabs a longsword.
I mean, yeah, you say cheater, but They didn't even like crash a big wave into the turret, and it is pushing into them, so he's
Yeah,
not going to lose all that much, but he's definitely going to fall behind here.
Yeah, not a traditional cheater, but
Okay.
Lily is so frustrating to lock down. It's part of the reason why she's so difficult to deal with in side lanes.
It's just helping to get this push in, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that he will be able to do.
Even with the proximity of Canyon, or rather of Peanut here, Canyon is going to be able to get the scuttle on the top side, and Peanut does not have it, of course, on the bottom side because he went for that play to try to help out the Gwen. So it don't look like it's going to be a double scuttle or anything like that, but going to be a little bit of a delay here for Peanut, but he is helping out his top laner in the tougher part of this early game. As we will see a lane swap, so he went for the earlier back, Ruler did, and then came back to lane for one more wave, and now is going top side. And Chovy is losing lane.
So it is possible.
It is possible.
I mean, it's early, but it's kind of interesting that he's down a level, you know, at the same wave state here. You have to wonder how that happens. Was he just out of the lane? Did he get zoned off of a wave?
Yeah, was he hit by a charm trade earlier on that we didn't see that put his health too low for him to continue to contest the wave? Questions we don't have the answers to, but it's a significant lead here for Zeka. I mean, any lead is significant when you're talking about Chovy, but looking like Zeka's doing his job very well. Picked up the Dark Seal, has boots as well, so continue to put that pressure on. This 2v2, not the most volatile in the world, but if we see some extended trades or plays like this,
yeah, gonna dash in. Delight goes for the combo, but with the Braum there, there's not really much you can do to trade it out. Again, it just comes down to the range difference that Viper is abusing very well here to trade better. As he goes in once again, there's gonna be more damage in onto Ruler, as now a stun goes in onto Delight, but Viper steps up and immediately has to step back. Ruler and Duro are still going to have this wave pushing, but they're not winning the 2v2.
Yeah, and Viper's just continuing to stack, and you know, this is going to get better and better for him as time goes on. Even in the short term, like, it does just get easier. We didn't see a barrier trade or anything like that. Delight.
Okay, goes for the combo, and now Duro's in a lot of trouble as the root comes down. A couple more autos would do it, but Delight actually the first one to go down. But it's still the kill given over to Viper.
Viper also had the flash there at the end with that ramping turret damage, just was not willing to risk it. I think it was a wise choice, but they do end up getting a kill to the Senna versus a kill for Braum. Feels much better for Hanwha Life Esports, but for Duro, was able to at least get something back out of that exchange. I really love that play from Delight, calculating so carefully, so well, the desynced timers there of the recalls to get in and actually catch Duro only after Ruler had finished his back, and then is able to isolate and kill him. Will cause him to go down as well, but Viper picking up a kill is the big win. And we're going to see a bit of a freeze here from Ruler, as Dragon is being taken meanwhile, so control ward on this, as Delight went down to help this out. I think helped a lot by the fact that Zeka has maintained consistent prio in mid lane. Alistair just goes down there, and that's a Dragon over the side of Hanwha Life.
Also, Keen is somehow losing this lane. I'm not really sure how that's possible at this point in the game. So definitely another question mark, but all these lanes that you felt like GENG should be winning, they're not really winning.
Yeah.
You know, seeing the Senna Alistair, you get to begin to understand how that is working out there, but also I feel like Ruler and Duro aren't really respecting that either. Because now TP is going to come in, and Keen does get rooted. He is still Nidalee. I'm not sure if they have the damage here. Another stun comes down, and yeah, he doesn't really care. But he does take a lot of damage. Viper getting a bunch of souls from him.
Yeah, no, he's just vampire sucking him. And
nice.
I think that, you know, some of these moves, some of these plays, these calls are just a little bit laissez-faire, let's say, for GENG, a little bit haphazard. Like that teleport location could have been a lot safer, and then he just loses a ton of his health. Yes, he's Nidalee. Yes, he can sustain back pretty easily. But now the Gwen is just chilling on the top side. Generated a small lead there. And Viper's just like, cool, stacks on stacks on stacks. He's like, I'm threatening turret plates, you know, at 3-8 minutes. And already sitting at 28 stacks. You can see the extra range. Only 20 right now, but it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the fact that he has this much this early feels really nice. And that's the buff coming through in part, but also just a great landing phase from him and Delight. And GENG will finally start these grubs up on the top side of the map, but I don't think they're getting 3.
Yeah, they'll get 2. Looks like Canyon. Ooh, gonna just be stopped there, but that's just fine. He gets away. There were 4 people from Homolife Esports up there, so they definitely wanted to try to contest this. As now, yeah, they're moving in, and then they're moving out, just like the Tide.
Looked for a moment like when maybe we were going to see a bigger collapse there. Canyon did have his ultimate and flash available, only had just used his charge to get out, so not super vulnerable. As now Keen's finally back in the matchup he wants to play, and he is starting to be annoying again, but it's a CS lead for Zeus. Like, the fact that this is still very playable for him doesn't feel great for the leads Genji not only we expected to have, but I think they kind of should have with this composition. A team that is very rarely behind from laning stats alone.
Yeah.
Staying at 1-1 in this game and after the trade earlier.
If you fall decently behind going into the mid game with a Nidalee, you're not in a good spot.
No.
And the 5v5 from Homolife is excellent. If it ends up being a 5v5, which for Genji they don't want to have 5v5s with their Nidalee, is Keen going to take some more harass. Again, I don't think this really does much except getting some pressure off of Zeus, I guess.
Yeah, but I think these types of moves, sure, Keen's like, thanks for the stacks. Just keep Zeus even. I think it's the second or third time he's come up to actually try to impact the lane, and it has made it a lot more stable for him. It's not going to be kill pressure, not even going to be flash pressure against the Nidalee, but just kind of trying to keep him at bay. And Zeus maintains that gold lead there in the top side, in part because of it. As Chovy's caught up in CS a little bit here, and is looking for his first item soon. Nashor's Tooth got a little bit cheaper on this patch as Viper.
Nice dodge on everything, basically, by Ruler and Duro. So Viper does take a big chunk. He doesn't get stunned, though. And he's getting a bit low on mana, so some of that healing is going to be reduced here. As you see, he hits right now. And he's just scaling. You know, at the end of the day, it's not like there was any threat on his life. It was pretty close to his flash cooldown. He doesn't have that at the moment, so maybe he was a little bit scared, but he is just fine. And outside of those 2 kills on the top lane, we've just been kind of hanging out and farming.
Certainly true. The next dragon spawning pretty quickly here with how fast Homolife took the first one. The good news for Genji is even if they can't get control of this second one, it's Infernal and Hextech as individual elemental drakes, but they definitely would like to even the score if they can get their hands on some prio down there on the bottom side. Viper obviously moving top side here without teleport. Doesn't look like they are looking for a massive contest on this. Keen doesn't have TP yet either, so in order for him to actually utilize the fact that he took teleport as a summoner, they'll have to slow this dragon down a little bit. It's 40 seconds away, so he could end up impacting it, but he is Nidalee, so does he really want to come to a team fight? Time will tell, but see what this dragon exchange is going to look like. Homolife Esports, with the scaling comp they have, can also afford to just simply not take the risk of letting this Lucian and Azir get accelerated and just avoid the fight entirely. And I think with the Senna moving topside, that is exactly the game plan here.
Yeah. Senna Alistar match on the Nidalee doesn't seem so bad. Able to at least match the range with the Senna and always threaten a little bit with the Alistar there. And we do have a nice little push and a big wave down on the bottom side, though, so a plate does go over to Ruler and Duro. We do have that pressure for the Drake.
I mean, Keen's teleport timing here, it's just a few seconds off. He's going to back, but it feels like Homolife made a weird call. Like, they decided to send the Senna topside, but still want to contest for the Drake. They got enough time, though, for Viper to come down here, and Keen is running towards the river himself, but there's no prio for Zeus right now, so it is going to be a really tricky fight. That being said, Peanut's on this first.
Oh. Canyon snuck in the little corner there, but then they do spot him. I'm not sure if they're really going to be able to push out Canyon in this case, though, as Peanut is going to go in. They actually turn immediately onto him, but the Impale comes down onto 2. Canyon does live, and so the assassination attempt doesn't really work. Duro trying to get in the front, but now they turn immediately on the Peanut, but it's a trade of junglers, and Genji are not winning this fight. Duro in a really rough spot, and Keen is being chased down. Unfortunately for Zeka, he doesn't have another Spirit Rush, as Ruler still full health. The engage comes in from Delight as he's trying to take down Ruler for the team, and he might just be not able to do enough here against the Gwen, and the Charm gets it. Zeka ends GENG in this fight.
That's another fantastic charm from him. The other one onto Chovy just killed the Azir outright after the Emperor's Divide, and he is having a phenomenal game, crushing the lane, comes into this team fight, picks up 2 additional kills, now sitting on 3. As the whole game plan here for GENG is to try to stall out, let the Dragon do damage, and look for an engage with Canyon. The follow-up from Duro here isn't really that great. It's just stacked with the Impale, so it doesn't actually get them any value, so they're hoping to then turn with Chovy's ult. Look at it go out. It's big, but he gets instantly charmed by Zeka over the wall. Phenomenal Ahri play there just to shut down half the damage, and the Ruler's like, well, I gotta try something. I'm still full health here, and then Delight makes the play onto the Lucian. So well played. Zeus can get over there and start stacking up that damage. He tries to kite things out, even uses his barrier here, hoping, praying he's gonna get something back, but he does not. Is charmed and taken out, and Hanwha Life 1,500 gold in the lead. No one gets the Dragon at the end of the day, but a big influx of money from the team fight alone.
Yeah, pretty interesting about the Dragon. Maybe we do get a bit of a follow-up fight. I'm not really sure if GENG would want to do that, but I say that, and immediately Ruler and Duro are moving over and contesting Vision. Maybe they don't necessarily want to give it away for free. There's nothing really they can handshake. They don't have pressure in top or bot, so either you group or you're just giving up the Drake. And it looks like they're just giving up the Drake.
I mean, the lead here in the top lane is Zeus's, you know? He got a kill earlier on, and I mean, he's just chilling. Like, it's not like the Nidalee into the Gwen matchup is just a free set of, like, it's not going to give you half the turret here while they take Dragon. It's not really a cross map is what I'm saying, to just have a side laning Nidalee up there on the top side. There's no plate gold to even pick up, even if he was really putting that extra pressure on. Zeus is just weathering the storm as Hanwha get the Dragon for free after the team fight win. I mean, look, he's putting a little bit of damage on, and they do have 2 grubs, so it's not nothing here, but compared to the value of the Dragon, it feels like basically nothing.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, a bit of damage onto the turret isn't much when you consider, you look at the other side, Zek is 1,000 gold ahead of Chovy, and Zeus is almost there, and he just picked up his Riftmaker. And it's a Mountain Soul, so you could have hit like Ocean or Chemtech, which would have been actually okay for this comp, but I feel like Mountain is also awesome, especially when you have a really kind of like down and dirty in-their-face composition with their top side with Gwen, Xin Zhao, and Ahri. They're just kind of going to be unkillable if they do get that Mountain Soul. So GENG, they're on a clock here, and it's not feeling very good for them right now.
No, certainly not. We're going to need to win a mid-game team fight, frankly. I mean, the Azir is going to be somewhat relevant. Side lanes does already have the Nashor's Tooth we were talking about. Looking for a Rylai's second, which has been a little bit more common recently, and Chovy was kind of the first person to popularize that, so it makes sense in this scenario. Canyon maybe has an angle.
And he's just going to have to go for the seal as, oh, it went down to 4 health, and Canyon now is in a really rough spot. Gets the Impale only on the Peanut Ruler, just trying to zone them away, though, and Peanut gets low himself. Big knockup, and now Chovy's here doing the damage. Takes out the Ahri, gets the gigantic shutdown, and Hanwha Life just bots this one. GENG called a bluff and immediately turn this fight around, get 4 kills, and now they're in the lead.
All right, well, I guess we just toss it back. The setup there was pretty shaky at best, I think, for Hanwha Life Esports, and Ruler played the fight really well despite not having Flash spaced incredibly well, and then the damage coming through from Chovy, the Emperor's Divide that comes out late, was just enough as Canyon goes in, and like you said, it was 4 health on the smite. He almost is able to even get the secure here, so watch Canyon go through the wall here. Duro trying to set up for a little bit of extra vision. It goes incredibly low, and all of the resources here in this fight go onto this Skarner, and he still gets the Impale.
Yeah.
He still doesn't die, and Ruler just walks forward here and does massive damage. Then Chovy comes in to help peel for him, and Delight's just like, well, what can I do? Maybe I'll just try to deny the kill from Ruler, and they end up losing everybody as Viper. Also, strangely, barriers there at the end of the fight. Not going to be too consequential in this game, I don't think, but we've had both of our 80 carries barrier at the end of a fight to maybe hope and pray. Yeah. Chovy gets Rylai's off the win in the fight, so that's an Azir now sitting on 2 items. I think we're going to be seeing more of this Rylai's with the nerf to Liandry's as well that was discussed on the space. 10 AP is significant for sure, but Chovy's already showcased what he could do with this build into a Scion. I think the same rules will kind of apply into the Gwen and the Xin Zhao in this case. And, well, just like that, Chovy's going to lead again.
We're going in again.
Canyon!
Now he's got Canyon right into the wall, and nothing that Zeus can do. He doesn't even ghost because he knows he's dead. Maybe a cross map here, though, as we have Keen in a lot of trouble. He flashes, but the follow flash comes through, and the tanking is coming in, but the damage is not. Keen lives for so long, and even Zeka can't hit the Q. And that Nidalee, man, so annoying. Keen does not go down.
You'd think Hanwha would know by now, the best top Nidalee in the league on their team, but just such a difficult champion to lock down, has the heals. Now it's still a successful cross map. They push him away, they get his flash, and the Herald gets the turret, but in return, GENG will get the inner turret in mid, the outer turret in bottom lane, and a heavy index that ultimately gets them something, but it's not an equal trade, it's not a fair trade. Hanwha Life, 3,000 gold down now, punished by GENG. And that play from Canyon and Chovy there on the bottom side, the angle of this Emperor's Divide looks kind of funky at first. You're like, oh, maybe we would have wanted to maybe push him more to the left. But no, because the Skarner's going to use that Emperor's Divide as a wall to shove him into there. Just a cool angle, very clearly well communicated. And now you can watch Keen here. He gets charmed, and then Peanut tries to pick up the turret aggro here, is successful. But he just kind of heals himself and runs around. Then Zeka misses this Q. Nice sidestep from Keen, and that's the end of that. They still get the charge on the turret. They still take it out, but Duro is impressed.
You said, wow, Keen. Somewhat impressed while also using a very unimpressed voice. I like it, Duro. But yeah, it's crazy how fast this game has flipped. Like, GENG just, it feels like now they're almost in an unlosable spot, which is really weird because Hanwha Life were in total control of this game. And just one Rift Herald fight, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I guess, never mind.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, there's been symptoms of this for Hanwha, but usually not on, like, Herald flip fights. It's more about, you know, they get great leads from lane, especially from their solo laners, and then Viper carries later on after they make a few mistakes in side lanes or overextend there. Like, Zeus is pushing a little bit too hard, but then they win the fight. That happens on the important objective later on because their team fighting is really, really good. And Viper, once he gets some more items online here on this farming Senna, is going to have a lot of agency in those fights, but it doesn't look like they're ever going to have map control to take them on their terms for the rest of the game, and the Ahri's agency goes down so massively when you do lose that control. So Hanwha dropping the ball a little bit on this one, and we are going to have one of those important objective fights, it looks like right now. Keen taking the turret out top side, does have TP. He is Nidalee, of course, so he might not be that interested, but I just don't see them getting anywhere near. This is the vision control I was talking about. You just can't play Ahri if you don't know what you can charm. You can't see who you should charm. How can you play the fight?
Peanut's got to get in somehow. He was in the Shroud, and they're not exactly able to zone him away. I think he can just dash in on that, and yeah, he goes in, but they immediately turn onto Peanut, and it will be the Otacon over to the side of GENG. Now a big sweep on a Zeus, and the damage from the soldiers is gigantic right next to that wall. As Canyon gets away somehow at the end of it all. He does it again.
Wait, Chovy
goes down. Chovy Penta angle, perhaps. As, yep, they're going to try to block for him. The Quadra comes through, and Chovy comes in and picks up the Penta kill.
Another Penta! Chovy picks it up. 8 kills now on the Azir. And what looked like Hanwha had such a strong foothold in, it looked like maybe we were going to have that 3-game series. Maybe it looked like it wasn't because also with the 8, he gets 2,500 on the Penta. But Chovy, the man just says no, it's just going to be business as usual. It's just going to be another GENG day. As, man, if you can't beat GENG with the lead Hanwha had earlier in this game, can you ever beat them? As Duro peels a lot here. Chovy does a ton of damage, as you mentioned, with the Sand Soldiers. Great ultimate there as well. Pushing the Gwen away from him so he could just maximize the damage. He has the Rylai's we talked about in the fights like this, especially extended ones. He's just going to do so much work. Like, this is the Azir dream.
It really is. He has a wall and a Skarner in front of him. I have E, which means he's going to dash in.
Yep. And he's saying, I got E, I want my Penta. And, I mean, Canyon did so much work in that fight as well. The peel from him.
Thank you. Thank you, my team.
Coach Kim's like, just kill him. Don't force the Penta. They force the Penta.
We have more fighting here, which, again, they're focusing the Skarner. This is never going to go well for you. Keen jumping into multiple people, and now Chovy is in a rough spot, actually. He's got a lot of people on top of him, but his team is right there. Canyon getting low. Peanut will go down, but so will Chovy. Maybe an angle, but now Ruler on the back line trying to take down Viper, and he will be able to. Ruler just unchecked in this fight. Picks up a triple in this one. I don't think it's the Quadra. Here comes Zeus trying to go 1v3. And it looks like GENG will just back away from that one.
He doesn't have Ghost anymore. I don't think Zeus can actually force this any further. Right?
Ruler wants it. Ruler wants it. Oh, he dashes over the wall, and now, well, yeah, now he's going to get multiple kills. Yeah, he has his miss back.
I don't really know why we egoed for it, but we did. But you know what? There's still 17 kills to 8. I think they're feeling themselves a little bit. As this starts off with Peanut and Zeka in this brush here to look for a charm, I think Canyon was confident that with his Impale, they'd be able to turn this around with Chovy coming over with the teleport. I think both teams confident at the beginning of this fight, oh, we 100% win this, right? And I think there's arguments for both sides as to why you would commit to this. And it gets a little bit messy. It gets a little bit broken up. But Ruler has enough space here. Even though they kill Chovy, Ruler's able to get the better of Viper in this fight. And once Viper gets taken out, it's really hard for you to win this one. But you could also just, you know, as GENG here then go, we won it, it's over, and walk away. But we ego a little bit. Enduro wants to proc the concussive blows, but it's going to take a few attacks to get that through.
He's like, it's fine, I have Lucian. Wait, no, it's Gwen.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice to say the least, but I don't know how much it's going to affect the overall game state because it's still a one-team fight for GENG. They still have control over this next dragon, which will be their second mountain of the game. They do pick it up. The lead shrank a slight, like a smidgen.
Tapering off a little bit. Yeah, I don't think they care too much about that. And by the way, Zeus got like insane amounts of gold in that fight. He got a 1,000 gold shutdown from Chovy. I don't know if it matters. He's the only guy. Look at the other gold leads. Even in the jungle, it's massive. And Keen's
going melee mode.
He's still strong in his own right, even though he's very behind the Gwen. It's just that the Gwen is incredibly farmed from that last team fight. And they're just getting more Mountain Drakes as well, which just makes them able to skirmish more and more.
Yeah.
From ahead. I mean, you take some defensive items, you're just kind of unkillable.
You really will be. I mean, Chovy already has Leandri's picked up. He picked it up third. Then was able to buy an arm guard, and he's going to have the Zhonya's armor on top of the mountain dragons he's picked up. They'll amplify that once he does have that. So he is well and truly full Battle Azir mode, lethal tempo on the rune. You know, I mean, like it just doesn't get better than this. If you're Azir, level 16, most experience in the game, and this started off with a pretty hefty lead for Zeka in the laning phase. And it's just that one Herald fight, really, that threw things into all disarray, as GENG are just going to say there's no way they can contest this Baron. They have control vision on it. I mean, they're going to try. Peanut does have Flash, but I just don't know if there's any hope here.
No real reason for GENG to flip it, so they're going to stop. I feel like they could have continued and maybe try to get the TP and then stop, or at least try to go for a turn.
I think they're going to do that now.
Yeah. But still going to be vision here, and Peanut's closer this time. TP will have to be channeled sometime soon. There it is. They're going to pull off of it, but now Halma is in the pit, but they're on the Braum ultimate, and again, Chovy is so safe. They got them in the choke point, like in StarCraft. They're just ripping them to shreds, and Zeus is going to get stunned here on the bottom side. It's a triple. Wait, not again. No way.
Wait, hold on.
No way.
He does not have Flash, but Canyon can hold them in place potentially.
The double penta?
It's gonna
you gotta be kidding me.
He's looking for the slow.
Oh, Canyon takes it away. I think there was just no way he could have gotten it.
He didn't have Flash.
But that would have been insane.
I don't know. The only other way, no, there's no way. He couldn't have, there's no way. It's not a steal. It's just Canyon listening to Coach Kim and securing the kill.
Yeah. They'd rather win the game than get the double penta. It's understandable.
And win the game. They will, Valdez. Sub 30 minutes here. 27 almost on the dot. The Nexus turrets will fall. And what was a good start for Hanwha Life quickly faded away as Chovy does it again. 4 items on the Azir. Pentakill picked up.
Yeah. And they're just picking up the scraps here as well. The Nexus goes down. GENG are just that good. Hanwha are so strong, but GENG made it look easy here after one team fight. Are able to pretty much rule everything.
David typed.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm making my 7 o'clock, by the way. You guys are on pace. Oh, boy. GENG. This is, frankly, like, you know, everyone in our talent group knows this, that I've been saying for a while. I think I'm on the side of Hanwha keep getting away with it, and they will be punished against GENG, right? They were punished by KT earlier last week. This isn't the same type of punishment I expected, though. It was mostly side lane issues and greed that they got punished for. And this time, they had a relatively safe setup, but it was it was haphazard, like I said, and Canyon was able to get in there, almost get the steal. And Chovy played it so well. Ruler also having an incredible game on this Lucian.
I wonder who's going to get POM if GENG win this one, Wolf. I wonder.
This is what I feared, though. I've been telling everyone in our group, like, I think GENG smashes them 2-0. And I was like, finger wagging at me. And then I was like, okay, the finger wags are real after the early game in that one. We don't know what's going to happen in game 2. We could see a comeback, and I hope so for Hanwha Life's sake. But, man, it was close until it wasn't.
Yep, I think I'm with you on that one, Wolf. GENG are just on another tier, even above Hanwha at this point. It's 1-0. We're going to take a break and have the space. We'll be right back.
쟤는 모른다 지금. 위쪽으로 나온다 이제. 비인이 와야 돼요. 붙어있지 마.
이거 그냥
한 번에 가.
한번에 껐다.
힘들다. 싸워.
스테이가 껐다. 싸워 끌게.
앞에 거. 야 그래. 야 이제 먹어서 봐야 돼.
고현한테 빨리 가.
야 맞아. 못 찾았어.
야 펜타인데? 뭐 펜타 또 해? 야 가자.
펜타 또 해? 가자.
가자. 고현아 미대 펜 썼다 이거?
펜타 플래시 있어요.
See what we do see as draft was a bit of an issue in that last game, but I think execution was also an issue. I think the Senna was risky, but it wasn't impossible to make work, but the game fell apart way too fast. As we'll see Victor also taken away here by Hanwha Life Esports again. And, you know, if you're looking to first pick a Pantheon, probably want to be letting that one through initially here. Corki is a Chovy special.
All right, so I really don't think that banning Corki versus Chovy is the answer.
He has preferred it a lot in these Game 2 drafts, though. And
sure.
I think he has not lost on it.
I just don't think it's really possible to ban out Chovy. You know? Like, ban out the Victor, I understand. The Corki is like, okay,
there's that
I guess.
Kalista ban again I was mentioning. And see, Pantheon actually being banned by Hanwha Life Esports. I thought it was going to be the third ban in this spot. Could look for a Rumble ban again, or it could be Jace. Likely will be a Zeus ban, though, in this spot. The Yone is also available. You know, Yone Sejuani could be really strong for Hanwha Life. They won't be able to get both on blue side on the first pick, but could draft towards it. Peanut loves his Sejuani, we all know. So the Yone is going to be the option. This might just mean a Rumble first pick here for Zeus. See if that's going to be the game plan. They look for the Talia instead here, even though the Azir has already been played. They pushed out the Corki, the Victor. So what will Chovy play? Ahri obviously gone, Azir obviously gone.
Yeah, need to be careful about the Poppy as well. If GENG start to draft anything that has dashes at all, and if they give the Poppy over to Peanut or Delight, you're not going to really enjoy yourself at all. Nefiri being looked at here.
Interesting. I suppose it's quite strong with Talia too, so somewhat of a denial pick here as we're tier listing a little bit. I'm just most curious about what Chovy wants to play into this Talia, as we just have seen the Talia dominate the hands of all of our best mid laners, and you could just play Victor and sit back, or Corki and sit back and look for your 2-item spike, but they're gone, right? Like, so This is a smart draft. The same way GENG drafted some of the best responses to Azir, then first picked it in game 1 on blue side, is he's looking for the Hui pick to outrange. An interesting choice. Has not found its place back in the meta as a pick right now. Chovy was very good on it when it was strong back in the day. It was arguably our best Hui player in the mid lane. But an interesting one. We'll have to see how the rest of this draft eventuates before we can really judge it. But obviously we'll be fine into the Taliyah in lane.
It's just that anything else that's meta doesn't do well in a Taliyah anymore. So it's like, or it's banned by Fearless. So you're just like, well, I guess I'm playing something that can range, but I'm not going to play Xerath. So here comes the Hui. And he's great at it, as you mentioned. Now, Sejuani and Jace are going to be the follow-ups here, so definitely a very strong side of the map here for Hanwha Life Esports.
If this Ornn gets locked here, this is going to mean a lot of prio for Zeus in the early game, but there is a lot of team fighting power in this draft, and late game scaling that's going to come with the ornaments. And if you lock Ornn here, I think you're looking for something like a Zeri for your AD carry, something that scales really well. The Smolder that was mentioned could, in theory, be played in the bottom lane. I don't think that's going to be the case in pro play right now, not in a stable enough state to actually be playable down there. But we'll see what they want to do with this, as it will warp the draft quite substantially. There's the Kaisa, maybe traded for an Ezreal here. And then that's where we start to go down the rabbit hole a little bit with AD carries, as Jhin doesn't really suit either of these comps all too well. I think it could work well with the one that Hanwha Life Esports has put together a little bit better, but I don't think you want to be running Jhin as GENG in this scenario where you have the Ornn and you're looking for more consistent damage. Varus,
I mean, Jins nowadays do go IE second or third, so I guess maybe.
I mean, it's not like he's not going to get an ornament and he's not going to get power from it, but it just feels like the Hui is a little bit more burst-oriented a lot of the time with how team fights do work out. So we'll see, especially with the Lineageries being nerfed on this patch. Varus is gone. They take that away. The Ezreal still looming, as they'll actually take the Jhin away from him. 100% on board with that call, but Jhin has an insane win rate right now, and everyone's playing it. So it's going to be Ezreal or Zeri, right? I think are the two picks that make the most sense for me.
MF. I mean, if you got to blind something, I guess MF. She's still in that spot where it's like, well, there's no Alistar, so we have to pick MF on R4.
Yeah, it's a lane win, likely, with this pick. Rel is still available, of course, so that could be where they go for. Because you have a lot of combos if you get Rel in this draft with the Ornn setup as well. Locking down the Ezreal and the Jace is going to be really hard, though, with this draft, because they're so safe. Like, Jace is a million miles away, and Ezreal is just going to shift away from any of your engages. So, looking at the Hanwha Life Esports draft and liking it a lot more right now. They could deny the Rel, which was not a surprise, I think, to anyone, especially considering Alistar's not available. So you end up with the MF, maybe Poppy, or Nautilus. Which one do we like more? I'm not sure. The Poppy is more valuable for the way that Fearless works and removing that champion from the pool and objective control. Nautilus is a little bit more guaranteed lockdown on the Ezreal if you can get into our range to hit him, I suppose. This draft here for GENG can absolutely work. It's got some late game scaling elements, has a lot of range with this Hui, has good setup for objective control with the Ornn. Like, Ornn's ultimates, the Call of the Forge God, can be useful even at his level 6 because it's just a team fight warping ultimate. But it can be kind of messed up by Taliyah's Weaver's Walls and a lot of different things here that Hanwha Life can do to shut him down. He could even just be ulted by Peanut while he's trying to activate. So we saw a massive outplay from Chovy and just honestly every player across the board on GENG in Game 1. But we like their draft a little bit better. In this game, I feel like I like Hanwha's draft even more than I like GENG's in Game 1.
Hoping for the Zeus win this time around. Zeus is playing that Jace, so we'll see if that does happen. And saying I want to get the 2-0, see my family tonight. Not looking to overstay tonight with the Hanwha win. Hoping for the GENG fighting here. And it might just happen, but Hanwha Life Esports have drafted a very nice composition here.
I think there's a lot of power in that Ezreal and Jace 2-item power spike here for Hanwha Life. Getting to the later game here with this comp for GENG is going to require a lot of finesse.
Yeah, well, they've finessed it before, so we'll see if they can do it again a second time in a row as we hop onto the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, game number 2.
30초 남았습니다.
And we got a dancing Ornn.
No, keep dancing.
Yeah. Maybe he feels a little bit lonely.
He's got to
self-conscious.
Save his energy for the laning phase, you know.
Yeah, Ornn has mana, not energy, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. But close.
But
mana is kind of like a form of energy.
Yeah, he doesn't use mana or energy to dance, though. It's just really part of his innate physical stamina that's not represented in the HP or mana bar. But
that makes sense.
That's why he's got to save it.
Do you think champions get tired then?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, they get tired.
100%?
Yeah, 100% they get tired. But you know what? They don't let it show because they're champions. That's right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. If they were heroes, 100% they like actually get slowed later on in the game, but they're champions.
What about legends?
Legends never die.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Canyon is off vision on this, in fact, through the location of the ward. It's not going to necessarily matter all too much, but just to highlight there that he was unseen and will actually just go straight to his wolf camp, which is ironic because he's Nefiri.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? We do have an unsealed spellbook.
Yes, I was going to mention that. It's a little bit buffed on this patch. It's not the Wadid support unsealed spellbook that he was hoping for. We've seen a lot on Ornn in the past. Pretty durable, so we see a lot of double smite going into late game objectives with this, and gives you more of the what's the meme with Ornn where he's like the assassin, banter,
the warlock,
like,
the bard.
Yeah. It kind of goes into that fantasy where you can just do anything.
Yeah.
See how that goes. Obviously in this lane though, it's not going to help him deal with a ranged Jace who just keeps shooting him and taking his health away. And it is Zeus' Jace, which I don't think at this point we need to even like caster narrative into existence.
Yeah, you guys know about Zeus' Jace.
Like it's kind of at this point, it's like, man, these casters just keep bringing that up.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it by now. Might as well say like Jace doesn't have, like his ultimate changes his form and he has it at level 1. Like, what else are they going to explain? Like, Zeus took Flash, which is a very useful ability.
It is very important that he did do that. I'm glad he did not take Ghost on Jace. But yeah, just going to be a bit of bullying. There was a ward over the wall that, yeah, can spot from one angle, but not the other. So he definitely meant to put that in the tri-brush, and it's not. So maybe we get a little gank here from Canyon. He's going to go for a full clear, but he can hop the wall. Here comes Peanut.
Yeah, I don't know if really make anything happen here unless there's an overextension, which there kind of is.
Yeah, gonna get the cleanse out of Ruler, and he is getting pretty low, does have to flash. Duro not able to peel very much with the Nautilus right here. Takes a bunch of damage himself, and Canyon.
Well, this ward placement will be relevant. Zeus, though, I think aware, because Canyon didn't show up on the bottom side.
Yeah, he's here, misses out on a bunch of damage. Can he actually force a flash? Nope, the knockback does get it done.
Well, that was pretty significant, you know, going to relieve the pressure there on the top side. But, you know, both jungle ganks on the opposite sides of the map were successful. Ruler has to lose his summoners, or use his summoners, so ultimately does lose them as a result of that. And no one dies. That's a pretty even trade. I like the situation, though, for GENG, given that the Ornn is able to stabilize there in what is a tougher part of this lane. As the MF just is, you know, down summoners, but probably isn't going to be in any danger anytime soon, and is able to buy a cull on the back. Does lose the lane swap speed, but I don't think they care that much about that either, as Keen is going to, with the wave control that he had topside from Canyon's help, be able to walk back to this lane. Doesn't even have to teleport.
Duro, one of our supports that actually does play a decent amount of Nautilus. We are in week 8, but he already has 5 games on it. Yes, he's 5-0, but it's GENG. They don't lose. Yeah,
we don't really show the champion stats too much for them.
That's not relevant. I think just the fact that he's played it 5 times is a lot more relevant than the fact that he's won every game on it. As, again, GENG just win. They only have 3 game losses this entire season so far. But yeah, really does like this pick, as now he got a little setup down on the bottom side, and guess who doesn't have flash? Ruler is so dead, although everything seems to be missing. They have a lot of dodges here. Will it matter? As he's trying to stand up to Zeus, as it feels like almost every skill shot missed Ruler, and it's just not going to matter, as they'll give that kill over. First blood goes to Peanut as he takes down Duro, and that's a couple of GENG bot laners dead.
I mean, they're really trying to maximize the MF power in this early game, but that was many, many steps far too forward, where they did not have any vision in the river or the tri-brush. Like, look at where Ruler and Duro are, and look at what they can't see. Like, the fact that Peanut and Delight can walk this far behind them means it's basically illegal to be here. Just insane greed, and they will be punished for it, as the target selection here is good. Peanut knows he alone should be able to take Duro out. Doesn't even need to flash initially there on the play, but does flash for the secure. And, you know, trade of flashes there feels pretty good. They end up getting Ruler because he is flashless and cleanseless from the previous play.
Yeah.
So Peanut, you know, not only punishing that overextension there, but knowing, obviously, that with no summoners here, it is a freebie. And so suddenly, Zeus gets a kill on this Jace, and that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he is kind of a big deal. 1-0-1, and, you know, they have Warren, they have Nautilus, they have reliable ways to really get a hard engage going, do GENG, but if you're behind, it's definitely going to make things a lot more difficult. I feel like, especially if Ruler falls further behind, which he's only died once. He's not behind that far on CS. Like, he's still going to be doing some stuff. It's really going to be up to his team to set up the team fights and for him to press R. Like, his job is still the same, but I do think that Chovy is certainly going to have some very nice team fights. Thankfully for GENG, seems like he's on his game today.
Now, we haven't watched the mid lane. It's been all about the top and bottom side lanes,
it's just
for
very
all the
boring.
pressure. It's a, you know, basic mid lane matchup, no kill pressure there or anything like that, but there has been like no jungle attention there. They're both just farming it out. Chovy has generated a significant lead, but it's not anything really to write home about. It's just, oh, okay, he's got a nice lead.
4 CS.
Yeah. And, you know, that equates to about 100 gold. But at the end of the day, like, we haven't seen the power of this Weaver's Wall yet in these exchanges, and it's going to be relevant soon. This should be a big trade.
Yeah, little root down, little ult into his face. Chovy knows he doesn't have kill pressure, but it's definitely going to be very nice, as now, good buffer there, but it doesn't matter because Delight still has flash, and that is going to be a third kill over to Hamalave Esports, this time into the Ezreal.
All right, the game one was a pretty significant lead, but this is almost getting to insurmountable levels for the comps here.
Unlosable.
We might be getting to unlosable territory, although GENG proved that it can take almost any scenario and turn it on its head if there's a mistake made. Delight is going to pull the aggro here. Ruler will ult the wave. Optimistic there, but still, not Ruler's ult, I suppose, if they wanted to do a follow-up here after Peanut takes grubs. Doesn't have his ult anymore, though, so that doesn't seem like it's going to work. Really nice buffer from Duro, but it's just, you know, just doesn't matter in that scenario. I mean, you look at the game state here overall, it's leads everywhere but mid lane. And the Talia still going to be incredibly relevant at setting up fights, and it's only a small lead for Chovy, by
70 gold!
Yeah. Like,
Still counts.
I'm just a little bit worried. I was worried about this draft, if you guys couldn't tell, for GENG. And so far, my worries haven't really been eliminated. I'm still concerned.
Remember that going into game one, we were like, hey, GENG have the lead here in the draft. But then they got behind, but when they came back, it's like, okay, well, you know, they were able to make it work. Now GENG in this spot, like, I like certain parts of their comp, but they need to do a lot of work. And guess who's back?
Yep,
back again.
No ult, but he doesn't need
And he's got his friend Zeka's here too. Duro is going to get the hook down. Delight probably going down to the turret here, but it's still going to be 2 kills. And farm denied. Viper eventually will just kill him. Okay, they give the kill over to Zeka. Chovy is here. I don't think that does much. The knockup is not going to hit. And now, actually, with Canyon here, they do have enough as an ult comes down on a Peanut. And They're just trying to dodge that one.
Well, that's, you know, it's very rare that in League of Legends when you have that kill secured, in professional League of Legends especially, when you have a kill secured like that and you want to give it to one of your carries, it backfires. Like, that's very rare for that to backfire, but the sidestep there from Ruler and how much time they were able to buy actually became significant, and GENG ended up getting a big win after a loss in the fight. So turning that one back is huge. Also, Ruler picking up a kill via the turret there onto Duro does feel nice. As up until this moment, you know, I was like, oh, this is not looking good for Ruler, but good flash, got his summoners back up, and then here they really want to give the kill over to Viper. Zeka ends up ultimately getting it here, but that sidestep from Ruler actually buys so much time, and then Canyon is able to get up here, and Viper took so much damage from Chovy coming up here to the top side of the map that Canyon could just execute him here, and they will ultimately trade back in a big way. So, you know, a bit of a backfire there from Hanwha Life, a little bit of greed, and, you know, I'm not saying it's quite like the backfire that we saw in the Herald fight in Game 1, but still feeling much better for GENG.
Not yet. There is still a Herald fight to have in this game, so let's not put it past Hanwha.
Because I was starting to feel like this was going to be one of those MF games, which I think even Rulers had one this year already, where you go to the post-game screen, it's like 4,000 damage MF, and you're like, oh yeah, he couldn't play the game. It's a little bit rough. They didn't have the setup. They didn't have a rel.
I feel like Ruler was the first one where we were like, doesn't seem like his MF is that good.
But then later he had some really good MF games, but at the very early parts we were a little bit, you know, we're raising our eyebrows a little bit. But in this game, you know, he's just unfortunately was super greedy. Like, he just got punished, and now he's 1 and 2 in this game, but significantly far behind CS, and now Duro is looking for wraparound, I guess.
That's okay. A little scary. Chovy's here.
Like, Duro has to come over here to try to keep Chovy alive. Otherwise, he just has to give up this wave and plates to Zeka. And because they denied Duro entry, they will just get those plates, and Chovy will be denied farm. So, feels really good if you are on a life in this exchange. Chovy gets some of it. So, it's not like the end of the world on this play.
Gonna miss this time. Ruler still in a lot of trouble, and he gets stunned, and he doesn't have flash or cleanse.
Nothing from the, again, the topside player is targeting him.
Chovy, looks like he should be okay.
Has no mana to clear this wave. I don't think they're gonna go for a follow-up though, as Duro does show up here to keep him safe. But they'll just turn over to the Dragon. And even the Dragon's up 1-1. Third death on Ruler on this Misfortune. Hasn't been able to cash out his cull.
Worst case scenario for GENG is Hextech Soul.
Yeah.
If it's Hextech Soul and you've got Jace, Talia, Ezreal on your team,
just say goodnight.
you win the game.
Yeah. As Ruler here, like, the wave is just in such a terrible spot for him. He has to walk up. And Canyon's nearby, so I guess he felt like he was safe enough to do so and didn't want to lose that farm.
Loud.
But down he goes. Triforce done for Viper. As Ruler is still hoping for that first item Bloodthirster. It's going to help him a lot in terms of how he can farm here in the mid lane once he does have it. And we'll get it once this Colt cashes in, but man, this is a bit of a stomp here so far in this second game.
Yeah, it's definitely a stomp. They continue to just find the MF and the Nautilus and gank that lane. At the same time, though, GENG aren't massively behind in gold, so they've got that going for them. Like, Chovy's farming well. Ruler doesn't really exist, but at least he has his BT, so he'll begin to exist now at this point in the game.
When you're this far behind, though, and you don't have a circle for your MF, let's say. Like, you have the Ornn, Call of the Forge God. That's your best bet to set up a big Misfortune ultimate. Yeah, maybe Hui could fear somebody at the right angle, or maybe Duro gets a multi-man knockup, but those are all super optimistic things. When you're behind, it gets even trickier to pull those plays off. And, you know, if they had something like a Zeri in this comp, where you get the ornament online, and Zeri has a big ultimate, slides over the wall at the right moment, you know, Hunter Life overextended, that type of fight, I feel like if you were looking at the ornaments, you'd be like, oh man, hold on, they have Ornn? Maybe? Let's wait and see. But this doesn't feel like that type of situation here, as MF is not really a hyper carry in any sense. It's just going to be an ult button and could clean up the fights, but not with the situation in terms of itemization right now, as Viper's going to hit his 2-item spike, Zeus is going to hit his 2-item spike, and then things just get so much harder from there. And that's why we're kind of like submitting the draft for GENG's Obituary in this one, and maybe I'm starting to feel a series on my hands a little bit.
I'm looking and
tingling.
I'm like, it just says GENG here for some reason. I don't really know. I don't see any series yet. Now, that might change, but I'm not going to count them out yet. You know?
I mean, I'm never going to count them 100% out, but it's going to take a lot. to get back in this one.
Yeah, I think just, you know, a good team fight. I think GENG were able to do a good job of team fighting in the last game. We didn't see too many that were even because it was one into GENG being so far ahead that they could do anything. It still felt like GENG had the better setups. So maybe if you've got like a really nice engage with the Ornn,
Ruler has
they can do something.
You know, that's going to help.
Yeah, they have like a siege comp where it's like you've got MF and you've got Hui, and if you keep them safe, they can do a ton of damage from afar.
They have the better setup here, but trying to hold this Herald is going to be tricky. Delight's just fishing for that angle.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to engage by any means, but now he's going to lose his Celestial opposition. He goes in, he doesn't find much for Ruler. Not very connected, but he gets behind the wall! And there you go, he is totally protected. Life go way too deep. And what is it about these Herald fights that just don't go well for them? GENG get the lead.
GENG, yeah, they take a gold lead off of this play, and they had the better setup. They were way faster. Zeus could have teleported in. If they really wanted to contest, they could have really forced the idea. You know, they had Weaver's Wall, but they just kind of walked straight in. Ruler did have to flash, so Peanut wanted to come punish him here, but he's got Cleanse. They're not going to be able to push the issue any further. We have a bizarre fight here for Hanwha Life. Once again, just kind of funneling
You mentioned the sums, Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, he had his sums up. Ruler's on the edge of the wall here, and when this engage comes through, it looks like, okay, maybe the overstep. He is able to avoid the Magnet Storm, then get over the wall, then the Ornn ultimate connects, and everything goes right here for GENG. Ruler's positioning phenomenal in that moment, and Delight fishing super hard, and I think relying just on your Rel engage alone in a situation like this where GENG know that's the case, are literally sidestepping the Rel, sidestep the crash down before that Magnet Storm came through. I think you're asking a lot trying to hard force a fight there, and now Ruler takes a gold lead and getting closer to his IE. I mean, this is the disaster you kind of kept saying, well, we'll see it. I didn't think we were going to see it. I didn't think it was going to happen.
There's always a chance when it's GENG versus Hanwha Life Esports.
I should have known. There was literally evidence in game one that this could occur.
Yeah, I mean,
I just thought Hanwha Life was going to play perfect League of Legends, and that hasn't been the case since First Stand. And even most of First Stand, it wasn't either, to be fair.
You could tell that Hanwha Life, they just felt like they were so far ahead that they can just kind of do whatever they want. But the overextension was so real into an MF that has flash, and the Shock Blast doesn't connect. Like the Talia can't get in there. Just so much of their damage wasn't there. Chovy didn't even burn flash, by the way. He probably did a lot of damage in that fight, even though really the highlight was the turn Ornhorn from Keen and Ruler flashing the wall and getting to bullet time all of them. But, you know, now he's another sitting duck, but he's got flash. And, you know, I don't know how much deep dive this Hanwha Life Esports team really has. Like, they have the Rel, but the follow-up is pretty slow. I mean, they don't have a lot of divers alongside of her.
If you have vision control and you're the first to the objective, you can use your poke as Chovy is bought.
Yeah, he's going to have to flash. So, about that flash, it's gone now.
Well, at least he didn't use it in the last fight, or he would be 110% dead. They are going to actually be able to turn this into a mid-turret take as well. Heavy commitment by Hanwha Life. Backfires.
Oh, they really wanted that hook to hit. Sorry to Duro, but he definitely wants that one back.
One more charge.
Ruler is, going to get smited in the face of the Sejuani. Doesn't seem to care all that much, as the knockback isn't going to connect either. Meanwhile, Zeus was just top. Didn't even bother TPing into this. He's just taking the turret.
Yeah, Zeka rather is pinging that he's going straight down the bottom. They might be able to get two turrets on the edge case here, where they get the top side lane turret. Zeka has damaged this turret significantly down the bottom side, and because he has tempo advantage here, might be able to push that one through. They are going to shadow him. What I was saying right before that broke out was they have a lot of poke, right? They have Ezreal, they have Zeus on this Jace. So if they have control of an objective like this one, for example, right now, it's really hard for GENG to kind of walk in and set up those Ornhorns. But when GENG were first on the Herald and they tried to hard force in without really having poke and just going, all right, well, Delight will get it done. He's our engage. It can get a little messy. So we'll see what ends up happening. So for some of these upcoming objective fights, this time they were able to get this one essentially for free.
What? And he was just like hanging out over there. He's like, no, that's my Raptor.
You don't have mid turrets, so I can be here and I can do whatever I want.
He was like hanging out by their blue buff, waiting for someone to face check. And Kennen is very strong right now. Yeah. He has a pretty good lead. He's waiting for that second item. Once he gets the second item, he is going to be incredibly strong. So probably farming up right now for that.
Now, 2 item spikes hitting here for Viper, Zeus, and Ruler, basically all at the same time. Chovy's a little bit further behind in that regard. 2 items here for Zeka. But there's no objective to fight over outside of Otacon right now, and I think trying to fight for Otacon without the control over that side of the map here for Hanwha Life seems like a potentially series losing choice. But I do want to just mention that those spikes are coming online. Zeus obviously still needs to finish his transformation, but he's nearly there. And this could be the moment that decides this series. If Hanwha Life Esports start to panic and hone in on this objective and say, all right, we're trying to Weaver's wall them off. We got this. We have Prio. And they just go for it. Genji could punish. I feel like that would be a tragic end to the series, but Valdez. Keen does have TP.
Yeah.
And Canyon is very far away, though. So, I mean, this Nefiri is not going to be able to join, but maybe they could try to look for the punish on the exit. They're just going to give it up.
I guess they're just giving it away. Okay. Otacon on this patch is very strong. And they're going to get a bunch of blood petals here. They get up to 19. I was going to mention that Genji actually had a really nice lead. It was like 24-6 or something in blood petals. But then Hanwha Life get the Otacon. They're going to shore up some of that and also obviously have that permanent effect in this game. Still a very close one.
Horizon Focus buffed on this match. It's picked up here by
Big Boom Boom AP.
Big Boom Boom AP. They took away the extra damage that you got from its old passive and just said it's big AP number now.
Large number.
It's like 110. It's big.
Yes.
So
it got a little bit more expensive, right? Like 200 gold.
Yeah. I mean, he's got it, and Zoro, it's going to be okay. But the burst damage that Chovy has to start off fights, or turn fights, as we've seen already Genji do quite well on that last Herald, is pretty significant here. And now the transformation's there for Zeus.
Oh man, Keen just hit 14. He upgraded the IE on the MF.
Yeah.
So any
ornament?
Any ornament enjoyers,
yeah.
But also like Ruler, he was so far behind. He got punished so much early on, and it just doesn't matter anymore. He has a gold lead and he has an ornament.
He does.
And he's MF, sure, but now like he's going to be pumping damage.
He is MF, and he is going to be potentially pumping damage, especially with his R button. But what hasn't gone Genji's way fully just yet is map control. And that is where their comp is going to struggle a lot when they don't have it, especially with the poke we've talked about a lot so far. You can see the map control allows Peanut to come over here and take these Krugs away. Chovy's not safe, doesn't have flash. And Keen is safe over here, arguably, but there's nothing for him to really get. He already got the turret earlier, so...
He's getting levels.
He is getting levels, and he's getting more ornaments. We're looking for Chovy soon. 2 items hit for Canyon, as I mentioned. He was already quite strong, but he is very, very strong at the moment with his Spear of Shojin. But I think I'm not convinced that Genji are fully in control of this game, even with the slight gold lead they have, until we see this upcoming team fight, which is likely going to be on Soul Point for Hanwha Life on this Dragon, as Prio is everything for Hanwha Life Esports. If they once again just let the Prio go to Genji and try to force their way through with a Rel Flash Engage, I feel like we could see history repeat itself, Valdez.
Absolutely could. I mean, there's so many ways to punish and engage on the side of Genji as well. It's not quite Braum Skarner, but it's a extremely tanky Ornn, and the Nautilus to just hook you down. And as long as you keep the carry safe, I feel like Genji will be having a good time in these team fights. So you can poke all you want, but you got to hit the right targets, and you have to access the backline. But if you're not doing that, I don't really see a good team fight for Hanwha Life Esports. Still a very close game. They have the Otacon. Like, the gold is one thing, but I think the Otacon is definitely worth a lot more than the gold lead that Genji has. So it's just a very even one right now.
Yeah, it's 40 seconds till this Dragon spawns. Genji did clear out the vision for the most part of the river. They're trying to fight for Prio right now in the bottom lane. Canyon challenging here. But Hanwha Life are here, and now they're taking that Prio away. This is when the poke starts to become relevant. So watch every single Mystic shot here from Viper. Every single one is relevant. Chovy will dodge this. Also, the setup for where Zeus is, where he sets up what flank angle he has, because if he's hitting Shock Blast onto an Ornn, very low value. If he's hitting him onto the carries, different story.
Yeah. I also feel like in the case of Genji, they need to let Hanwha Life engage. I say that. We're looking for entries here.
Yeah, then the Fury also kind of annoying because her dogs block a lot of that Shock Blast damage, as you can see. Still getting some damage in, trying to bait Canyon to get his W out. They did get it here, but moments ago, Peanut was standing on top of him trying to bait it out, so maybe they could try to go for the jungle kill into the objective, as this is where the poke is going to shine. Zeus is looking for Shock Blast angles, misses this one.
Oh, TP here for Chovy is right in the thick of things. I think he should be okay with Keen standing right in front of him. Enduro nearby. Hanwha Life Esports, they want to get in. Ult will be used, but that's onto an Ornn. A ton of damage going into only Ornn. And Delight has to go back. This is the Dragon also over to the side of Genji. They're looking for the turnarounds here, but Viper is just going to hop away. Zeus, though, not in a very good spot, and it doesn't look like he'll be getting away from this one. So GENG, they get the Drake, and they'll almost definitely be getting Zeus as well.
100% here. He's going to go down. Who gets the kill? It's Chovy. Gotten a few of those today.
Was there a question?
We weren't quite at 2,500. We may have jumped the gun on that one, but he's one kill at a time. He's one kill in this game closer to that 2,500 milestone. The poke wasn't really landing the way I think it needed to here for Hanwha Life, and GENG are so incredibly patient. And the fact that the Ornn is the one that gets caught means that he could just flash back into the fight, and the bullet time does so much damage. And now Hanwha Life, they index so hard into trying to set up this poke with Viper and Zeus that the team is kind of cut in half. So GENG end up getting the Dragon, and it's either Viper or Zeus. One of them dies 100% in this scenario, and because the Ezreal is a lot more mobile, he's the one that gets out. And unfortunately for the other poke champion that Zeus is playing, he's going to go down as well. The Jace just kind of caught in that awkward spot there, trying to get that damage done, but GENG playing around Vision, playing so slow there, and just allowing the Ornn to be the first target, looking for the turn, just like we saw in the Herald fight. Very similar situation. And when you're diving into a misfortune, if you're not hitting the misfortune, her bullet time is taking a third of everyone else's health, and then you can't just win you can't win the fight anymore if you're split, which Hanwha Life were after that initial setup.
Yeah, exactly. It's really difficult for the poke to land because you're hitting Ornn, you're hitting the Fury Dogs, and you're just not doing enough. And MF has BT as well. Chovy doesn't ever really seem to be in a bad spot in these fights. He's keeping himself very safe, knows he has the supreme range advantage in this entire game, outside of like maybe Shock Blast accelerated. Even then, Chovy can probably match it with his ability, but yeah, he's always just like, I will be nowhere near the engage, and they will never touch me. And as long as that continues to be the case, I think that Hanwha Life will struggle. Still a close game. Again, it's hard to say who's going to take it from here, as Canyon is very much in no man's land, and he's going to be punished for this. Tries to flash away. We got a wall coming in.
It's exactly what they tried to do to him before, but they're spending so many resources. They're so far forward.
Yeah, they are so far forward. Zeka in a rough spot. Ruler does have to flash, though, but does get the kill. And now Chovy lights them all up. He's got the angle. He zones everybody away, and they take down Peanut as well. And we got Snipes coming in here on top of it all for a fight. They killed Canyon before he could do anything.
Well, I mean,
still they lost.
It's the exact same setup they were looking for on the Dragon for Canyon. Peanut gets on top of him, they force out the untargetable, and then Peanut instantly ults him. He has to hit those, but it just takes so long to kill him that he buys enough time for the rest of the team to show up. Keen has a great ult. Chovy turns the fight. Shock Blast here trying to turn the tide.
He's level 16 right now. Like, nobody's doing damage to him. Now that Shock Blast is going to kill Duro, though. And Keen is taking a lot of damage here from the Baron. As, yes, they'll absolutely have to pull off of this one. We do have a knock-up, though, on a Zeus. Delight goes in, and Ruler, oh, he's going to miss the Q, but it doesn't matter. Zeus was dead first anyway. And the turn, Hanwha Life Esports, they fall for the bait again.
Again, another one of these. Hanwha Life Esports, it feels like they're so close to catching GENG, but the reach is just not long enough. Their grasp, every time they try to tighten their hands, the sand of GENG slips through their fingers. As here, you got out the W, and Peanut just instantly ults. We're taking this guy out. Weaver's Wall locked him down. We take out the jungle, we're going to kite back to Baron. The problem is you're so deep here. Canyon lives for so long. Look at where Duro is. He ults Viper and removes him from the fight. There's so little damage here. Zeka is way too deep, and then Chovy's like, we're getting more. Drops his ultimate in. Duro has a fantastic hook there onto Peanut, so now Baron is the option. Now Zeus does play this really well here, avoids the knock-up attempt there by Keen, puts a ton of damage in, takes Duro out with the Shock Blast, but it's still just a losing game here. As the Viper's too low to continue to fight. He can't do it, he can't get in. Flight does end up missing here, which I don't know if it really would have mattered, but feels bad as Ruler gets another kill on this MF. And man, we were a long way away from that early game we were talking about. We were like, maybe it's almost unwinnable.
Yeah.
Anything is winnable for GENG.
I wasn't ready to believe. I wasn't ready. It felt like it, but
look at that lead they had. You know, at 2,000 gold lead, most teams wish they dream of a 2,000 gold lead against GENG.
Yeah, at that point in the game as well, it was like 10 minutes in, right? It was just such a huge early game lead, but they just can't convert into actual winning game state in these mid to late games.
All the ults are back up. Choke point control is GENG's. Hanwha Life, do not face plant this again. I mean, they have to do something, obviously, if GENG do start that objective, but play it slow for now.
All right, well, Keen's going to go in. Again, he's basically just a block of steel. Like, nobody can really get through him. And you look at the positioning, like, Keen is literally just standing right in front of Chovy. No shock blasts, No Sejuani ults.
Trade Dragon for
Even
Baron is
the
the
Realm
call,
struggle there.
but they don't have enough control here. Peanut's slowly taking this ward out. I think
No
it's just
way.
going to be the Dragon into get off my Baron.
Yeah.
Zeus isn't even there.
All right, little root here as no knockup from Keen there, but he's fine. He is incredibly tanky.
And Canyon just zones Zeus away. He's a level up on Zeus, by the way.
Yeah, 2 on Peanut. I mean, this is
That was optimistic.
it's just desperation at this point, and again, there's no damage dealer there to follow up, even if it does hit.
Yeah, I mean, Viper was fairly close by and will actually look for the true shot, but I don't think that true shot landing is how Hanwha Life are like, okay, got him, we're doing Baron. Like, there's an angle. Still, I mean, a nice try, but Peanut doesn't have his ultimate. And GENG are just chilling because they have control now. Before they had the gold lead, and we were like, okay, well, let's see what happens when, you know, we have the Jace and the Ezreal poking. It hasn't really worked out. You know, the positioning of Keen has been great. Ruler's positioning has been amazing. And if you can't kill the MF and Chovy's hitting these big ultimates, layering a ton of damage in the fight now as Leandri's, you have Black Torch and Leandri's, or Blackfire, I should say. You just do so much in these longer fights.
They're burning.
They're burning, and they also has like all that additional AP, so the burst of a lot of his abilities just really hits hard when you're chasing them down at the end, once the fight is already won. And from here, it's the same story. GENG get control, and when they have control, it feels like this comp can do no wrong. Like, getting to a full summoner misfortune, or good luck.
Yeah, it's just not happening. Now Ruler might be forced to flash here, but he's just going to run really fast instead, utilizing the walk strategy, but they're throwing everything into him, and maybe should have just flashed, as now we have the follow-up here from GENG, but Chovy only just got here. It's still going to be a kill onto the support, at least Keen in a bit of a rough spot. He's taking the damage. Hanwha Life, they'll take out the Ornn.
Okay, that's the miracle angle. I mean, Ruler 100% should have flashed that, but he was playing a little greedy, and now maybe they can get something done here. Canyon's already used his W. Chovy has to do what he can to try to be a rapid-fire cannon to stop these players from taking down the Baron, try to add as much poke as he can. Canyon has Flash and Smite here, so gonna need to look for a turn. Zeka shows back up with TP.
Chovy is going to push them out as well, and Hanwha Life just pull off of it for now, but a ton of damage coming out for a Viper. Wants to take out Chovy, but he zones him, and that's all they needed to do. It's a Smite here. The Baron goes to Hanwha Life.
Some really good confident play from Viper in these last few moments were really critical. The kill onto Keen, where he was able to go forward there with the E and take him out. This moment as well, where he's able to zone the carries away. Strong Ezreal play. A lot of the poke wasn't landing earlier, but in these clutch moments, he is doing a lot of heavy lifting, which Viper has been doing for Hanwha Life a lot this season when things get a little bit murky. Now, this play initially looked like it was a big whiff, but Ruler doesn't flash the Magnet Storm, and he is just instantly taken out with all the damage coming through from Viper and Zeus. And then Keen here as well goes incredibly low. Duro flashes away, and then Viper with the chase, ease forward, knows he has enough agency here in this one. Chovy already used his ult, no fear. And Hanwha Life fans are...
Any believers?
I mean, I think it's been quite a roller coaster of emotions for them today with how things have been so back and forth. And now, it's a playable game. Now, 2,000 gold lead for Hanwha Life Esports, and they have map control back. That was what they've had to fight and wrestle so much to get back. They have it, and they have Baron.
Not sure about that ult, and Zeka even gonna flash. Yeah, maybe he was zoning Chovy out. I couldn't quite see above on the minimap, but either way, it doesn't look like it did much of anything. As Chovy was following up with damage anyway.
Keen ult in trade, though, feels bad for GENG, but they're trying to press forward here.
Shot Barrage not going to hit Keen. That is a very tanky Ornn. They got to be careful, and this time they're not going to overcommit. I like that from Hanwha.
Yeah, because you're once again just forcing yourself into a choke point. If you do, into this bullet time. So a lot of restraint shown. Great dodge there by Chovy. No vision in that brush. Still reacts instantly. Not that it matters all too much, but you love to see stuff like that from currently LCK's best player. It's not over until that Nexus explodes, though, and this Baron did not get core damage done. They didn't get any of the inner turrets, and inhibitors are far, far away from what looks like it's going to happen with this Baron. 30 seconds until Dragon, and they didn't even hold Prio in the core lanes. Like, the bottom lane is just dead even here in mid. GENG with the faster resets are pushing it out, challenging it here against the Baron. Canyon, though.
Yeah, Canyon just going to run into them, and now he's going to go untargetable. Tries to flash, he gets to disengage, but it doesn't matter as he gets punished. And now Keen in a rough spot. The engage comes in from Delight. Ruler, though, and Chovy are very safe in the back line, but the damage is being done to the front line as a huge bull time, though, is take out Zeka. And now you've got Chovy in a good spot. These two carries, incredibly healthy.
Keen did so much work there, gets the extra knockup. Now Peanut's so low. And Chovy is looking to blast them from range. He's an artillery mage, and there's another one.
They have blue buff. Viper, you got to be so careful doing that. You got to be so careful. There's a TP behind them, though. I don't know if the rest of the team can follow up.
They have to just force. They have to just force, I think.
Okay, Fear comes in. They got to turn on the Zeus, and there it is. The Sun Flash gets it. The flash in, and Chovy, trying to get him, flashes out, and it all sails wide. And Viper on the Ezreal, I think, should be able to clean this one up. There it is. The E-in and the auto is enough.
Yeah, just enough mana to use the speed up, but he still gets taken out by Viper there in the end. Great teleport from Zeus. I think without that, they will eventually win the fight. He comes over, has the flank there, and now Hanwha Life Esports look to take this dragon to put us 3 Drakes apiece between these two squads. They have a significant gold lead. It's 4,000 at this point. These fights are looking so close to the finesse we are seeing from GENG, because once again, Canyon is the target, right? They're trying to get his W out. They eventually do. He's hit with the ult, so he cannot actually blast Cone away. And then watch Keen in this fight. Looks for the interrupt on Delight. Doesn't have that one. But then the damage is coming through. He hits his ultimate here and gets the charge through with a flash to buffer it. And that is what allows Ruler to get the kill there on the Zeka with the bullet time just on the edge. Now everyone's super low. And Zeus makes the correct call to back here and TP in at full health. And because they have this ward in the mid lane, as well as that ward there on the Raptor, I actually thought he went to the mid ward. They have 2 wards he can TP to on the flank. And so Ruler and Chovy just kind of have to all in. They get split here. And Chovy actually plays incredibly well. Zeus gets the kill there. Chovy flashes, or gets the flash out of Zeus and nearly escapes. And now we reset. This game is wild.
36 minutes in, you don't know who's going to win yet. No soul in this game just yet. 3 dragons apiece. Otacon and the gold lead here for Hanwha Life Esports. You got to like their chances in this one, especially for Viper. He's just so fed at this point in time. He's doing incredible amounts of damage. And they're just chunking through the front line, which I think GENG is the one thing they can't really deal with.
Uh-oh, Ruler, no flash.
Yeah, he is very fast, so he's just going to run down.
Yeah, the Cloud Soul helping out.
He's just hanging out in their jungle.
I mean,
what is happening?
If he can find, you know, Ezreal coming over here, just look for some farm.
They spotted him. They know. Okay, we're going to go north. Let's see if this works.
He just has to buy as much time as possible. The team is looking for a turn.
I mean, they're going all in on a Canyon, but now, look at this. The other jungler here, Peanut, is in a bit of trouble. He's very tanky in the MF. Just barely able to chew through that one. And so we trade junglers.
I mean, I feel like in this moment, Canyon has just identified the whole game plan of Hanwha is to kill the Nefiri. And
Zeka, where are you going? Where are you going?
He's got his passive. He's fine.
That was so close. He gets hooked. He's dead. And then the Baron spawns in 20 seconds.
Okay. Both junglers down for almost the exact same time here. 35-37 between Canyon and Peanut at this moment in time. Uh-oh. When a vision toggle comes in like this, you always get worried. Okay, Viper just going to hit a Q. But man, the way Canyon is playing is if he catches Ezreal in the brush trying to go over and do Raptors, try to get some additional gold, you know, that might be a winning play. But he also was able to buy so much time. If he gets over the wall there, too, it's not even an even trade. Now, Baron control completely to Hanwha Life here, even without a jungler.
Yep, with the wall, even with the Aura to break it down. A snipe from Chovy. A little bit of damage comes in, but it's not enough. And Hanwha Life, they just burst it down.
A great read here from Hanwha because they had enough control over this area, and GENG's composition isn't going to function as well when they can't actually force a fight and a choke. They don't have the same type of engage that Hanwha has. Hanwha had great turn if GENG were even closer and could have looked for the fight. They weren't, and they knew they had just enough space there to actually burst it down without a jungler, knowing there's no enemy jungler as well. As Canyon's buying a ton of time, like look at the chase here. He is stopped when he's attempting to get over the wall, but if he actually gets over the wall and they get Peanut, this game would look very different. And he kind of has a global taunt in this one as they just keep trying to take him out in these big fights. As getting to the back line is a little bit trickier. Getting to Ruler, getting to Chovy, that's a step too far. But if you start with Canyon, you get his W, maybe you can win the fight. It get a little bit messy there, but Hanwha Life ultimately do get the Baron here. I'm going to look to Siege, and maybe this time they can finally get some damage done to the core of the base of GENG. Those inhibitor turrets still full health. Mid inner still up, bottom inner still up as Viper is looking to use his W to rip it apart.
Yeah, push comes down here in the bottom lane. There's not a thing that King can do.
Yeah, there's no teleport flank wards or anything on the map here for GENG. They just kind of have to sit back and clear waves. And so far, they will do just that. Cloud Soul is on the table here in 1 minute. If they can remain in control of these lanes with the Baron prio, and it should be on the cards here for Hanwha Life Esports.
Yeah, top is pushing right now for Hanwha, but I think it's a bit early. Chovy's going to get up there and push it back and then join on the bottom side of the map. So this is actually very good timing here for Chovy.
Yeah, he's
on this wave.
Just barely going to be able to, I think, take this one out and then rejoin, but without teleport, you know, the best he can do is just like, I'm not going to necessarily get all this farm, but like as much as I can, and then just come back and rejoin my team. 1 minute here on this Baron still for Hanwha Life. Hasn't been the biggest Barons, you know, back-to-back for them in this game to get that hull damage done. As a bit of a wraparound for Canyon now.
Chovy is he's playing with fire there. Generally, you want to just sit behind these tanks. A lot of damage done by Zeka already to Keen. Shot blast.
He's playing that off angle to see if he can clear the wave, and he is successful.
All right, little ult in. That's going to hit a buffering Nautilus. And now we got the follow-up engage here. In onto Delight. He's in so much trouble, but look at that backline. Just get first to shred, but Delight is going to go down. And now you got an ult that hits nobody from the side of Ruler as they're just trying to run away. Keen trying to peel for the team, but the shot blast hits Canyon. And Keen can't do enough.
Zeus doing so much there. They end up getting the kill onto Canyon. Baron's still up for 15 more seconds here. Zeus eats half of his health bar in damage, though. And they're just going to look for the Dragon. The Dragon should be a freebie here for Hanwha Life Esports. True Shot Barrage going to delay some backs here, and Chovy's just going to go over and clean the top wave up. GENG's still hanging on in this game because their inhibitors are still up in a 6,000 gold lead when you get to 40 minutes in, when we're looking for Elder territory. Doesn't matter as much as people start to get full build, and when you consider the ornament gold value that's inherent in GENG's composition here. Delight's turn. It sets up the flash in. Magnet Storm is there. Canyon taxis, though, and gets away. But this ultimate missing for Ruler is a big deal, as they have Chovy in danger.
Who's in danger here? Zeka. Oh, the hook's going to miss. And we got rocks. We got all of GENG here, though, basically, as we're looking to try to do something to Zeka. That's a lot of damage already done to him. One shot by Ruler. That's going to be the end of Zeka in a really weird top lane skirmish.
Yeah, he just got super greedy. You could see him on the player cam there, messing up his hair. Definitely not unhappy with how that scenario did eventuate there, as didn't expect Duro to be there. Duro missed, but as more show up and he breaks his arm guard, the follow-up is pretty self-explanatory from there. As he goes up here trying to chase down a low mana Chovy, and then Duro comes over the wall, misses the hook, but that's not the end of the story because Ruler and Keen are also here. And then the follow-up here, he has the arm guard, but still is hit by the second part of the Call of the Forge God. Really easy to line those up. Timing-wise, a little bit trickier there for Keen, but he pulls it off. And is this game just going to be decided by Elder in 4.5 minutes? It starts to feel like that is going to be the case.
GENG versus Hanwha Life Esports, that's challengers, baby.
Yeah, because they just haven't been able to get any damage done to the base, despite 2 Barons, despite a large amount of map control. It hasn't led to significant enough advantages. Canyon's been running circles around them when they do have those Barons, finding that backline access, slowing them down. Ruler, Kraken Slayer online.
6 items.
Core complete, no boots.
No boots.
So, I mean, you see the item value here is 1,600 higher than Viper still has his tier 3 cooldown boots here. And this MF doesn't really need to do a whole lot of walking. She just needs to do shooting.
This time, though, I hope it's on a target that is on the enemy team. I mean, it was good dodging from Zeus. Maybe he thought the CC would be there, but it's not a great MF feel if you use your ult and you just hit nobody. So gonna need a bit more out of him.
I really feel like what will be the main decider in this fight is Prio and Delight's engage. As Peanut is looking for, again, Canyon, trying to bait out his W.
Yeah, I mean, another weird spot. They don't want to engage on a Keen, but they get the TP here at a Chovy, so looking for the blue buff. That is very important for the Hui, specifically, because Chovy's been out of mana for a lot of this game.
It's a really big deal. He gets, obviously, faster cooldowns as well from it, and that's actually a really good point you mentioned. I mean, you mentioned it earlier as well, but it's big for him that he has that. 3 minutes until the Elder spawn. But the
Baron's about to be up.
Yeah, the Baron vision, the control over the map that Hanwha has maintained this whole game, it feels like. All of its late game is still there. So Canyon has to be the one to come over here and try to face check.
Yeah, I see a wall coming down. Maybe trying to get Ruler here. Not going to happen.
Bit disjointed here on the side of Hanwha Life. That's a big ultimate
Shot
down.
barrage down 2.
Yeah, 2 big ultimates down now.
And Viper will get it back quickly, but like, we'll see.
That's the kind of poke you want to see if you're a Hanwha Life esports fan onto critical target here. But Ruler is MF with Bloodthirster, so gets it up real quick. But if you hit that before a fight and then you collapse on top of Ruler, sometimes he doesn't live those. His flash is just now coming back online. Maybe it's not an Elder flip game. Maybe it's all about that Baron. As Delight with a wraparound has flash and Magnet Storm.
Oh,
this could be the
boy.
moment. Ruler!
Does
Ruler!
he know? Does he know? He's caught! He's gonna cleanse and flash out of there. And now Hanwha Life don't want any more. They say, okay, we got his cleanse, we got his flash.
That's huge. Really important that he is able to react and live there, but without those cooldowns, I think Baron is a lot more of an opportunity here for Hanwha Life esports now. As Canyon also caught.
He is Nefiri, but still, big chunk dunk to him. And now immediately they're just going to start up this Baron. And their turn should be very good. Delight here, though, no ults, trying to frontline. And Canyon's nearby, so they got to be careful about this. And yeah, they're actually going to back away.
Chovy just has so much damage. He still has that blue buff. Ends up getting hit by the true shot, but still, he's so far away that punishing him is going to be impossible. 90 seconds until Elder. Ruler will not have flash for the final fight of the game.
This game is crazy. It's 46 minutes in.
Now, Delight still has flash because he didn't need to use it for that play there. And we'll have his ultimate back online. Weaver's wall's back up. As, man, Canyon is making me nervous this whole series.
This game is making me nervous.
I mean, I want to see outplays. I want to see a fantastic game. I don't want to see a game decided by somebody who was a little bit too greedy.
We've had that happen.
But it is looking like it's not going to happen yet. 60 seconds until Elder. Still control vision here in the Baron pit.
The longest game so far was T1 GENG Game 3 from round 1. So you guys all remember that game.
Yes.
Really just going to start the Baron. He is MF. I think they don't have to commit to this, but they kind of are. Now TP is coming in. Is it late?
Has to be Delight's engage angle, I think, if they're going to stop this.
Yeah, we have a wall coming down. There's the Delight engage. They get on top of Ruler, but he's still alive. He's still alive. It goes over to Canyon, but Ruler is dead. And now it's all up to Chovy to do the damage, but they find him on the top side of the fight, and Chovy is down. Hanwha Life esports should be able to win it from here. As the key is taken out as well. Canyon is on the run, and they just group up mid, and I don't think Canyon's got enough wave clear for this one, guys.
No, I don't think so. 10,000 damage to Viper. Delight dies in the engage, but the engage is good enough. It's a flip on the Baron, but the team fight wasn't even close. And finally, Hanwha will secure the win here in Game 2 to bring us to a 3-gamer. And I'm all here for it, Valdez.
Absolutely. This is what we signed up for today, guys. Game 3 between GENG and Hanwha Life esports is on the way as Hanwha take a grueling game number 2. That was like 48 minutes.
Never able to break open the base, never able to turn those Barons into a real permanent advantage, but they still were able to play it out better on vision control on the Barons. The engages from Delight were game-changing, taking away Ruler's flash. And the moments right before the big critical objectives were coming away, having his flash still up for the engage there, that helps decide the game. Zeus wasn't landing a lot of the poke in the mid-game, but when it came to the late game, he really was, and the damage, you could really feel it. Confident game from Viper, and that might have been the best game of the season so far. Be hard to top that, but it is Game 3 we are going to have between these two teams. GENG started the day off with side selection, won that first game, and we'll have it for the final game. As we were making jokes in the early game about maybe it's one of those low damage MF games, maybe they'll never be able to fight their way back. There were a few mistakes from Hanwha Life. GENG got back in, but weren't able to win it in the end as Viper tops damage at still at 1k DPM at a 47-minute game on this Ezreal.
He was the guy that was able to get them through. And this person says, I have a religion. It's Hanwha Life esports. I believe. We'll see if they believe for Game 3 as we'll take a break. It's 1-1. We've got a series on our hands.
충분히 도착해.
궁각 좋다 나 이거.
각 보자.
미포 가둬볼게. 야 미포 안에서 치긴 하거든. 가둬봐. 천천히 가둬볼게. 미포 안에 있다.
야, 후에 질 못해. 볼게. 야, 미프 잡으면 뺨 이겨.
천천히.
천천히 안 해도 돼. 그냥 세게 해줘.
야 후이. 야 이거 내가 나필이 봐. 나필이 나온다.
야, 나필이.
나필이 W 없어 지금. 미드라인 살리면 끝나. 미드라인 살리면 끝나. 날아와봐. 됐다.
나공 한번 주고. 나한테 봐. 미드로 가자.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
Well, it's game 3.
Let's jump into this draft as Rumble will be banned again. See the ban of Zeka's Yone. Could be Zeus as well, but mostly Zeka in this case. Peanuts Maokai take it away as he has a little chuckle about it. I do think that mid lane picks are going to be really important. And on red side, you can't target Chovy the same way you did in the previous draft. They'll take the Victor away. I think if you go Corki in this third spot, it's a little bit greedy. Pantheon also will be available. Last time banned on blue side, I think GENG should leave that up and look to grab that. I'm not saying they're edging for a Corki first pick, but it would be a really strong ban to get away. As you know, we go into game 3s of series like this, it becomes a little bit more creative, like a little bit less tier listy. That's where you start to see the Zed jungles come out. That's where you start to see the Trundles, the Zoes, the unusual picks.
It's where the coaches and the teams really shine if they can create a composition that still makes sense while also being good tier list wise.
Ooh.
I like the Lulu ban.
I actually like that as well.
But Pantheon's available, so maybe I don't like it as much.
But it does give
I don't know.
a ton of lane power, empowers Ruler a lot. And perhaps Viper wants to play a pick that would struggle into it in lane. We can't know that obviously just yet. Vi is also
Vi is up. Okay, so that's why they do it. Because they're going to just trade down. Okay, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, no, it's in my head it's just always banned.
Vi is perma-banned here in the LCK. But now she's going to be picked.
Okay, so they take the Lulu away. Lulu Vi is also incredibly strong. So another thing to consider with that. I think Pantheon is going to go over here to Peanut. The Maokai ban.
Could also play Poppy.
Yeah, that's still available. They didn't opt for it last time around, going for the Nautilus instead. But Poppy is pretty greedy, I think, when you don't know at this point yet what the draft is going to look like. And especially with the jungle already locked in, you don't have to get it here. But for the Xayah Rakan
early
safety into the Vi, which makes a lot of sense. And when the pool is this thinned out, it feels pretty powerful.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call. Because if you don't pick it here in the first rotation, it might get stolen right here on B2, B3.
Yeah.
And you need something to survive against the Vi if you're going to give it away.
All right, Varus finally going to go over to Ruler here. And he will outrange the Xayah quite easily. They'll even get the Renata for heavily indexing into the lane. And Renata can work really well with Vi and any sort of dive composition. It's commonly picked into dive as a deterrent, but can actually work well with it. That was just a tease, of course. He wasn't really going to pick it, but everyone got scared. The Korean cast specifically were a little bit concerned that it wasn't just going to be the Snap Pantheon lock, which we all expect. The question becomes now what comes next, because the mid pool is going to get pretty interesting. You know, Chovy always known to have a wider champion pool than basically anyone, with the exception of Faker, right? And Zeka has been known to have his champion pool grow quite substantially, but I do give him a slight edge here. But his Galio specifically has been quite nice. That's still up. Could be something they go for, depending on what Chovy locks here. Like if he wanted to go for an Aurora pick, for example, I think they'll save that counter pick for him in this scenario. Sion is taken away.
Yeah, Silas, another potential. Not a lot of great ults on the side of Homolife Esports right now, but it still feels like it could get some work done, some damage done with the Vi.
Yeah,
but it really depends. You can't, you know, if they save counter pick for mid, then you're struggling to just blind pick Silas, you know.
Yeah, it could be really strong here for Chovy in this draft. But again, it's blind, as you say, so quite challenging as we see the Jack span away. The top side is the focus right now.
Yeah, they might save blind pick for top with all these top bans at this point.
Yeah.
I think Homolife have decided, well,
Silas
there's
is gone.
Silas.
So you and I were kind of on the money with that one.
It's definitely a pick that Chovy will play at any time when it makes sense.
Well, this also allows for Zeus to blind Gnar here and then have the counter pick for Zeka.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be the
good
angle
call.
they're fishing for. Genji may want to ban the Gnar as a result, as Zeus has been so good on the pick. They're thinking about something else, though, instead. Remember, the Nidalee was picked in Game 1, so that one's off the table. His Kennen, which has been a great counter pick for him in so many matchups, is now also taken away. I feel like they just slam Gnar here, R4, and give Zeka the counter pick he wants. Blinding the Galio instead. It's definitely not what I expected, but this is the pick I mentioned earlier that Zeka's had so much success on, living up to his Super Soldier name on the pick.
Yeah. It's
And it's honestly insanely good with Genji's comp, so it feels like a denial as well.
It's great. It's great with their comp on the side of Hanwha Life as well. The follow-up with the Rakan is fantastic. It can peel really well if the Vi goes too deep. I think it's a good call. And Zeus is a guy that can utilize top counter pick.
Just kind of play quirky here? I mean, I feel like it's kind of risky to play it that way, but you know, you have the 80 into the Galio, and now with the Renekton pick, the Galio is not going to be going top, that's for sure.
They were discussing Chovy's pick that entire time.
Yeah. Aurelion Soul is definitely a Chovy classic, and it is very good in the matchup. I mean, it's not one where the Galio just says, well, I have a little MR shield. I'll just, you know, stem off the bleeding in this lane. It's going to be a hard winning lane. The Aurora is, the Galio is a counter pick to the Aurora, and he's just going to lock it anyways. For a lot of power in skirmishes and team fights with the Vi. I think it fits the comp, but is very tricky into this Galio. Zeus dare to play Gnar into the Renekton. The Kennen is gone. This is an exciting pick here.
Or
He's
something
play
else.
Vladimir?
Vayne? Quinn?
Quinn would be so exciting. That's a great shout out, but I think it was
Gnar
fated to be the Gnar.
is the safest.
Yeah. Okay. We got the draft here for Hanwha Life Esports in a bit of a roundabout way. Like, I was like, oh, okay, you blind the Gnar, then you counterpick for the Aurora with the Galio if he picks it. They pick the Galio blind, Chovy picks the Aurora into it, and then they actually have the Gnar as the 5th pick there into the Renekton. So, a bit of a weirder order, but I guess we just ended up in the same place where we expected this draft to look with those counterpicks available for Hanwha Life Esports. And for Genji's side, there is a lot of power in this draft, and they're actually going to put Chovy on Renekton mid. Not the first time we've seen this.
All right.
It's been a long time, but it's good in the matchup, and Galio actually really like this. I don't know why I didn't even think about it when it was initially locked in, because it's not the first time we've seen this played by so many mid laners, actually, but Chovy was the one who played it the most back in like 2021, where we saw the lane swaps, where the Renekton was swapping top and mid a lot. We've seen it played into Jace. We've seen a lot of different Renekton mids into picks like this. And then the Aurora is going to feel really good in that top matchup into the Gnar, because the range matchup the Renekton isn't going to feel as comfortable with. So a bit of a tricky finesse here at the end of the day for Genji. It kind of caught me off guard, but I think probably Hanwha knew it was a pretty high chance, and that is what's going to happen. It's been a long time. We'll be interested to see who's the last mid Renekton. It might be Chovy himself. He's played so many 80 picks like this in the past, like Cassante.
It probably is.
I would, like, if I had to bet, I would say it was probably him.
Yeah, wouldn't be a surprise, and it's going into Galio. He should have a fun time. Zeka doesn't look like he's having a fun time right now. Game 3 is starting right now.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지
All right, here we go. Game number 3. Game 2 was quite the epic bout. Will Game 3 live up to that? Is basically what we're all hoping for and waiting for here.
So that Chovy champion pool, just kind of, you never can ban this guy. You can never count him out. You never necessarily know what he's thinking.
Yeah, there's Keen's Aurora too.
Yeah,
so
kind of the father of top Aurora.
It does feel like Chovy and Keen do have the most ability to just kind of swap mid and top. Because Chovy is basically a top laner.
Yeah.
Like, he can play any top lane champ. And Keen also plays a lot of mid stuff. And I wonder if that's by design as well. Where it's like, you know, I'll practice Ryze, I'll practice Aurora, I'll practice stuff that makes sense for the top lane for certain matchups, so that we can have nice swaps like this where it makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're on the money with that. I think it is definitely intentional, utilizing both of these players' skill sets quite well. And this early matchup, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, Ruler, the range advantage can just be very annoying to deal with. Handshake, you know, a little bit tough to lock down Rakan, but if you play it well, you play defensively, you know, as both these players get level 3. Throw can outplay. So Canyon's going to go for a bit of a early cross to look for the prio, using the prio he has there on the bottom lane to check out Gromp. Doesn't commit.
Yeah, just immediately knows where Peanut is and what his path might look like. Although Peanut's going Wolves into Gromp.
Yeah.
So there is a world where he goes, you know, blue up to his red side jungle.
How is Canyon been allowed to play Vi twice this season? Like, this is his 3rd time?
Yeah.
That's actually not...
At least this time
okay.
it's nerfed, you know?
I guess a
little nerfed.
A little bit nerfed on the Q.
It still does press R onto targets, but if you look at the other side, like, there's not a lot of great targets. Like, maybe a Mininar, a Rakan who's out of position, which is... It doesn't happen very often, and then a Pantheon who's got a shield down. So, obviously Xayah, if she doesn't have Featherstorm, but that's not going to happen. She's going to save it for the Vi.
Well, you can use the hostile takeover.
Oh, Showmaker.
Showmaker is the other player, by the way, I associate with this. It was in 2023 that he played it against Fiesta's Gragas. Zeus is going to miss. And Keen will just walk away, get another grasp stack. Scary for a second there. But yeah, I think the hostile takeover value is really high into this draft because it's so low range. Even though it's not a dive comp, it does have dive elements, right? Where the Galio can follow the Pantheon engage, where Grand Starfall comes out, and then Zeka ults on top of it. Man, Keen is just going to get an early plate here. This swap is really doing work already in this early game. If you can get the Xayah ultimate out with the Renata ult, then it's just easy follow-up from there. And sometimes if the Xayah is trying to follow up quickly when the Pantheon Galio engage comes through, kind of like Camille Galio, fairly similar idea, then you get caught trying to follow up too quickly, you get caught by the Renata ult, or you have to ult early and Vi gets on top of you. If the fights are played out a lot slower, then I agree with you that it's going to be quite challenging to find another way to realistically get that R button away from Viper, because Chovy has to be in melee range for him to try to set up a stun.
Little lane swap coming through. Zeus going to stick around, though, and they trade flashes. So if Zeus has Boomerang, okay, he's just going to use it for the creep. I thought maybe he just throws in the bush, but it would make it very awkward where, like, Keen's stuck top, and then Viper, or rather Ruler, is already there.
Yeah, Keen did have teleport, so even if he got stopped there, it would have been annoying, but not the end of the world. As Chovy will slice and dice to get out of that taunt. Building a small lead here in the mid lane, but it's pretty even between these two. Pings on the Renata rotation was pretty wild there by red side at the exact place where he would be without having any vision was kind of insane. Like, that was probably a ping towards Zeus. Like, he should be around here. Like, he's almost there, but, like, he's not there yet.
Yeah.
Zeus might have been like, when did Renata leave? Just so he doesn't get handshook here. Because now it's a 2v1, obviously, in this top lane for the Gnar. That did not teleport back. So, not like they're going to be able to just push him out and deny him a ton of farm. But still, a little bit uncomfortable for this level 4 Gnar, who just has some brown bags, as Atlas likes to call them.
Yeah. I mean, in the side of Hololive Esports and Zeus, I feel like he's going to be just fine to lane against Renata in the Varus. But if you were still going up against Keen's Aurora, that would be a problem. As Viper going to flash in, Peanut's here, and Keen's in a lot of trouble. No flash available, and this should just be free money. He's going to go the opposite way, and he's going to...
Oh, man, he actually should just get out here.
He gets away?
Canyon will have to drop the dragon, but...
I don't know. We got Zeka coming over. And now trying to get on top of Zeka is Canyon and Chovy, but no Vi cease and desist available. And wow, he actually just gets away. He just goes north.
But it's still a big win here for Hololive as another sidestep because they deny the dragon. And now Viper has free roam, free control of this bottom lane by himself. Keen is going to have to take this long wraparound where he has to even scry to guarantee that he has enough of a path here where he's not seen to get over and get as many of those minions as he can. He will lose a few of them, but yeah, by all rights, he should be dead, Valdez. And he is not, so a big win there. And also, Chovy, we had level 6 advantage there. Not that it matters too much in terms of how that skirmish could have gone, but Zeka couldn't ult in, which they were very aware of. Now Zeka has 6. If he had 6, I think that would look very different. And Chovy does not like flash to look for the catch there on the Zeka or anything like that. It just ends up being a trade. GENG naturally 1,000 gold ahead in this early game. And a lot of that is the advantages they have in both the bottom and top lanes. I mean, that's all of the advantage, really, in fact.
I mean, early on, the Varus and Renata, you know, this is what happens when you first pick Xayah Rakan to deal with Vi. Is that you're not going to win your lane. Xayah Rakan is not a winning lane duo.
Yeah, especially not Varus.
Yeah, especially not Varus and Renata Glass, who is going to be abusing that Rakan. And yeah, they'll be able to sustain and they'll be able to stick around in the lane, but they're not going to be as farmed as the Varus, that's for sure. And then, of course, the counterpick Aurora.
Late deny here feels pretty nice for GENG as well. No one around to pick that one up. And yeah, I do agree. I mean, you're starting to feel some of the early lane power here in the bottom lane, and they had the cool swaps of the solo laners to now generate a lead for Keen into Zeus. Now he's laning into a Varus, so again, it's not like he should die here, but he's not comfortable. Doesn't have his ult right now, whereas Ruler, by the way, does. So Zeus is just getting zoned off of some of this farm. Really frustrating. He's finding himself further and further behind in terms of the top lane matchup. If you compare him to Ruler, though,
yeah,
he is nowhere near. And the fact that they're even in experience just really tells a lot of the story here. Is Canyon, with all of this topside prio and mid prio they have with the Renekton, are just taking his grubs, and there's nothing that Peanut can do about it. I mean, he could, if he was nearby, ult in, but he would ult to his death. His level 6 right now is so useless compared to Canyon having this really strong set of lane prio. And it was just a master stroke in the draft that, until I saw the swap, I was kind of like, well, it's a little bit funny how we got in this scenario where he picked the Aurora into the Galio, but it wasn't into the Galio, Valdez. And, you know, the picks seemed so obvious to us. GENG were like, yep, they're going to lock those in, but Galio is going mid, Renekton is also going mid. The Varus swap early, the control they have of prio in this matchup into the Xayah just gives them so much power. You got the early Dragon, they got 3 grubs without a single team fight.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's partially because this Gnar doesn't have a good lane to go to. He can't lane into Varus and Renata. He can't really lane into Aurora either, especially now from this far behind. It's like you're just catching waves. You don't really have an impact at all. There's 0 prio.
And Chovy's had so much prio that it's been not realistic for Zeka to go to that lane and to put the Gnar into the Renekton in the mid lane, where he'd also be vulnerable to Vi. You know, in that really risky lane to be in if you're a Gnar. So, and like without prio, he can't even swap over there. Like, he's constantly pinned. Had they tried to play the game, which we've seen with the Renekton mids a few times, where he just goes straight to mid lane at level 1, like, maybe you could have made that work, but that's just a lot of ifs, that's a lot of maybes. And GENG are always going to have tempo on those types of decisions, and now you just don't have that opportunity anymore.
Yeah. So 2 games in a row, Life Esports had the lead early on. This time, GENG have the lead. So I'm going to be curious to see how this one is going to work. Keen once again going to go the opposite way, but this time there is a Rakan in his face, but the knockup doesn't come in until Light's not level 6.
Keen has flash, so he should be able to get away.
Yep.
Actually doesn't even need it.
He is Aurora. And that's very frustrating too. You try to help out, you try to kill the Aurora, or give your Gnar a little bit of help. You barely even get Keen's mana pool down.
It's just a really difficult champ to lock down. And this time, like last time he used the W and the Invis to trick them, but this time he just used his ult to Pac-Man his way out, and then was able to use the W to get over the wall. Doesn't have to flash or anything like that. Utilize the full range of Aurora's movement and just the pressive 2 buttons, basically. He's chilling.
Yeah. We got Bramble Vest here for Zeka, as he's like, well, I need some armor, and I need some ability to stop Renekton from just getting to do whatever he wants.
Zeus just having to try to use his ult to get out of lane to back, you know, and he's successful in that at least. Handshake is going to land.
I mean, this is a plate. As the knockup does come in, they're trying to punish. Ruler also taking a turret shot, but guess who's here? It's Canyon, and that is so easy for them. As with Canyon there, they're just able to lock it down. Delight with heal and flash available. Never saw it coming. And the timing was just impeccable.
I mean, look at this, though. Zeus got his back off, but Keen stays and just turns this into a 1 lane again. Pushes this in, gets a Demolish proc, takes another plate.
Did this Gnar curse a good game, or like what's going on here?
I mean, I guess maybe we did. Croc wouldn't say so, but probably should at this point, as Delight gets rooted, and then the Vi follow-up is there. Really good bait on the side of GENG. Cleanse also gotten from Viper there. from the Renata Glask ultimate, hostile takeover cleanse, to make sure he gets out and also gets to keep his very valuable ultimate. But, I mean, this is just GENG. Like, yes, they have first blood, but otherwise this is just lane advantages really starting to stack up. The lane swaps, the tempo they have, putting Hanwha Esports into such an uncomfortable spot. Now, the combos still do things, right? They still have the Galio, they still have the Peanut ult, like the combo between the Grand Starfall and the Galio Global will be relevant, but it's not going to be relevant for this fight, it doesn't look like, as GENG just have so much control. Like, it's insane. Will they just commit? They don't have Peanut's ult. It's just a few seconds away, and I guess that's a few seconds too slow, and the Dragon is for free.
Yep, Dragon for free. Little engage here. Delight's going to hit Duro eventually. There's zero follow-up. Nobody goes in. He doesn't really hit anything. And it's just kind of desperation this time from Hanwha Life.
Yeah, he's got this little sheepish grin on his face in the player cam because they just really didn't want to give that for free. They wanted to get something back. And he had flash, he had ult. Maybe he was thinking, okay, they're going to have a little bit of a desync back here. They're not going to respect me. But
you see the way that Keen is playing? He thinks that Peanut's in top lane. And Zeka's standing still, giving sad bumblebees.
Yeah.
What happened here, guys?
I mean, Zeka knows that he can't really do anything more in this matchup right now. Chovy has his cleaver online. The junglers are at item parity. They're at gold parity as well. But Pantheon can't do anything without Prio in this situation, or without a setup where Zeka can follow with him. Because they do have, you know, the combo we've talked so much about, but who's the target? Like, where do you go with it when you're this far behind on the map?
Yeah, I mean, now he got a big engage on a ruler. He gets the cleanse, and the feathers come out, and he doesn't have the recall, and now the roof comes down. Hyper will go down to the turret.
I actually thought Ruler was going to live there for a second. The side steps were immaculate, but it's still a trade, and it shouldn't have been.
Oh, boy. Canyon's here. And, we do have the Pantheon coming up, but no ult available. A lot of damage coming down onto Mininar, and Zeus goes down. Little trade looking for here, as Peanut does take him out. Canyon still on the run, as Delight is coming up here as well. But one Vault Breaker, he's out.
Yeah, with the Vault Breaker, he's fine. And he didn't have Flash, it looked worrying for a moment there. Keen going for Leandri's first, despite the nerf. I think with the advantages he has and how he could just use it to kind of continue to be annoying and pressure both matchups, frankly. If he ended up into the Galio, you know, he'd be happy with that buy. Doesn't make sense though. Ruler doesn't have Flash. They knew this, so they're looking for the punish play here, but Duro, perfect angle on this hostile takeover, hits everyone. Ruler has the shield, then the bailout with the root to come through from his ultimate. I mean, he couldn't have played it better. If he gets the kill just 1 second faster and gets the bailout, I probably would have screamed even louder than I did, because I thought he was going to live. And Zeus over here flashes because he wants to live, tries to buy a little bit more time for Peanut. Peanut turns this into a 1-for-1, but Canyon will still get away, and the damage is already done.
Yeah, damage is done. I mean, at least it's just Ocean Soul for basically just Renekton who's going to enjoy it the most. Like, it's still good, especially from ahead. It's going to be very oppressive, I would say. But yeah, every lane wins here for GENG. Chovy might just get this bottom lane turret.
I mean, with 3 grubs, I think he can just hold the turret. Like, he doesn't even have to care about this taunt. Just sidestep it. He could just go up and smack it one more time. The turret denies some minions potentially. Is okay. Maybe he doesn't get it. No, he gets it. Backdoor protection.
Duro, awkward spot here, and now he got the charm coming down. No knock-up follow-up, though. And the damage just isn't there yet. I mean, it's Essence Reaver Xayah at the moment. And Viper just going to cleanse there just to make sure he lives, but yeah, it's looking pretty rough. Zeka elects to go into a fight. Not sure how this one happened.
Well, he got so much of Chovy's health when Chovy, when the wave was cleared, committing to the turret, took that extra shot, took a bunch of damage trying to commit to the turret, and then he's like, maybe I win this now.
But he's Renekton.
And Chovy said, no, in fact, you do not win this now.
You can't break those cuffs.
You can't break those cuffs, but he at least got the advantage in ult. Maybe Zeka could actually join this fight now. I mean, this could be an angle here for Hanwha Life. I mean, the 3,000 gold behind, but up a member. Renekton teleporting to the top lane and not to the fight, but they're just going to give up the Herald anyways. And Zeka's like, well, guess I'll stay in the lane.
Yeah. It's a very, very different situation in Game 2 where GENG were behind, but they were like just farming it up. They had an Ornn, you know, they had a MF and Play, which aren't like the best scalers in the world by any means, but they were just waiting for the Ornn to get online for them to get into late game. Hanwha Life are sitting here and they're like, well, Maybe we get in a late game with our Xayah, and we have great team fight setup, but like, we can't do anything else.
Outside of the first Shrek movie, I'm not that well versed, to be honest. Like, I saw the second one, but I don't remember it very well.
Same.
And then I don't really know if I saw any of the like Puss in Boots or any of that. The Shrek 3, I don't know, but maybe.
Is there ever a donkey movie?
Is there?
I don't know. I was asking.
I feel like I would watch it. I'd be down.
Yeah.
I just
Sounds fun.
I don't know which Shrek movie this game would be, but I know that it is Hanwha Life Esports getting Shreked that I am watching. that's
the one thing we can confirm.
That's the one thing I do know at the moment. Is Peanut. This is a bit illegal.
I mean, the light's here, so he will be safe. But again, I don't think they're doing anything about this Ocean Drake. Meanwhile, Chovy gonna find a little Gnar. Should be Mega Gnar though.
Yeah, and he got the slow to buy some space.
Chovy, yeah, he's getting TP'd on. Meanwhile, we got a fight breaking out here as Delay tries to go in. Peanut accesses the backline. Ruler, though, he's safe as he's going to flash away, but now he's got a Gnar on top of him. As, yeah, no way for him to get out of that one. But now the entirety of Genji's comp comes in. They turn onto that backline. Zaya's getting super low. Zeka's already dead. And yeah, you got Ruler, but you lost the fight in such a huge way that it just doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all. Viper getting sidestepped here. Okay, but
okay. He might be able to get it. The feathers come down one more auto. Yeah, Viper's gonna get it.
Can he avoid Chovy?
Well, we got some plants. And
no other damage dealer.
He just dies Sakine.
Unlucky. Close to an execute there, but the Leandri's prolonging the aggro there a little bit. As this fight looks kind of good here for Hanwha Life initially. The Pantheon ultimate, they have the Galio ult coming through. Zayas also showing up in this fight, looking for the Gnar, gets the kill on the Ruler. But what happens next is where things get a little bit iffy, as there's no ult for Viper anymore. The damage from Keen is insane. Zayas is cut off on the top side of the fight, as he had to go super deep to look for that Gnar. And then, well, we just watched what happened here. At least Keen missed everything, and then Viper killed him with a really nice callback.
Yeah.
Also to slow Chovy and buy some space there. But Leandri's did him in anyways.
Well, you got Peanut on the way, as well as Delight, but I think they're going to be late to the party. Zayas, though, nice knock on the wall and flash away. Oh no, the extension! It gets him on the backside of Peanut. And now they can't do enough damage to Chovy. They just press their buttons forward. And Delight, he can't do anything. He's just going to get away out of this one. 2 kills, though, to GENG. It's already 6,000 gold, Wolf.
Yeah, this is looking like we're almost seeing circling of the drain here. I mean, look at the mid lane push. They're already on top of the inner turret here, putting some threats down there as Keen will be finally laning against the counter matchup that Zeka was hoping for.
He's got plated steel caps and a Sunfire cape.
Yeah, no.
Bramble vest against Aurora.
Why didn't I build MR? Because we were laning against Renekton.
I don't think this is any of the Shrek movies, Wolf. This is like War of the Worlds. GENG are like the giant alien structure things that are chasing people down. Hanwha Life are just barely trying to survive.
I feel like the game 2, how close it was, how back and forth it was, with, in our minds, a huge draft gap for Hanwha, especially mine. Like, I thought Hanwha had a huge draft gap in game 2. Was really close, but in this one, with just some tricky lane prio and then some doubling down on fights that to try to get back in, to be fair, for Hanwha, not going well. There's constant pressure on the map, constant side lane control. GENG just... It feels like a neck snapping here from draft alone, and then the rest of this is what Hanwha Life, what little they can find, is maybe they'll find Keen, but nope. Canyon's here.
Yeah, Peanut's dead, and they'll just give him away. Not even full gold, I think, for that kill. And yeah, just a little taxi over to the Otacon. It's very close. Didn't even need to take a taxi, actually. They just walked.
Yeah, I mean, Zayas, he's like, well, I guess I'll get maybe a turret bounty. I don't even know if he does. As Chovy's going all in on this.
Yeah, I don't know if he can actually kill Zeka here.
Doesn't have his empowered W, so I don't think so, but does it really matter is the question we're all asking at the end of the day, as Ruler and Duro are totally fine here. This wave will crash now. I guess if left enough time, Zayas will in fact get this turret bounty. So small victories. Small victories.
Yeah, you got to start with something. You got to start at 1, and they do get the 1. And the bottom lane. But, yeah, 6,000 gold still.
You know,
well,
and
it's not extending.
In the LCK, oftentimes we have games like this, we start talking about, you know, movies, actors, chroniclers' predictions.
Cooking,
Hog steak,
coffee.
Coffee. I mean, I'm drinking just hot water right now.
Yeah,
but
I'm drinking water. I'm a little sick.
I feel like it's Hanwha Life GENG. It's a 14-0 GENG whose streak was just broken. It's #1 against #2. So I feel like if I did that, it'd be disrespectful. But I'm trying to find ways to talk about the game that isn't just tragic and sad, and it's very difficult. And maybe we should just talk about stuffed animals or something, or like the big Tibbers plushie that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Pretty cute.
I
Little
do
one as well.
I feel like it will have a GENG patch on its foot if things continue like this.
If Dagon remembers, we'll see if he does. Generally, he does.
He is good with the props.
Yeah.
I have to give him props for that.
It's all about the props.
As this I keep watching the same trading pattern over and over again. It just doesn't get better for Zeka.
Yeah, I feel like, Zeka, okay, we're going to ult in here.
It's like, nah.
I did see some chains of corruption sailing wide, though, okay? So that didn't connect.
He flashed, Duro handshook. Still have the Renata ultimate, so this choke point control is still GENG's, even though they don't have the flash for Ruler. This is an opportunity. I mean, this is the best chance I think Hanwha are ever going to get.
Our timing is good now, but if they don't fight right now...
Ruler's positioning is like, I'm on another planet, by the way. You can't get near me. I'm not going to allow it.
Yeah. And, they got the Scuttle Crab, did GENG. So now, how will I be like, wait, no, we didn't mean it. We're going to turn here onto the Vi. Canyon just flashes out.
Duro just is standing so well here.
Trying to turn on the Renekton. Not sure about that. Do they have the damage, though? They do, actually. But they lose the Ocean Soul over to the side of GENG. Duro just going to throw out an ult, but he's probably dead here as well. So Hanwha Life, they're getting some gold, but they did just lose an Ocean Soul. Are they even going to get him? I mean, this has taken quite a while now. So. And yeah, they do. It's a shutdown, actually, for Peanut. And now the chase on a Ruler, as the timing here is interesting. Ruler is just going to get that kill, and now he's still kiting it out, but he does get taken down by Viper. We got a Galio ult that's canceled, as for some reason, GENG are still fighting this, as they say, no, we're stronger. We got this one. We got the giant briefcase of money, but Viper with Peanut is able to take down Canyon. Viper getting pretty low, though. And, which one? I don't know.
Well, I'm still feeling GENG for now, but it was a big win for Hanwha as GENG. GENG.
Okay, Keen. He's getting chased down here. He has to flash. Turned into a very weird fight very quickly.
Okay, well, it got really weird for a second, as the fight here is not won by GENG, but they do secure the dragon. As I wanted to mention before this collapse on the Chovy, like, Duro's positioning is so phenomenal. Like, they can't actually get to the objective. So they decide the next best thing is to look for a kill. And because Duro was so well positioned for a big hostile takeover when they tried to come in for the dragon, he's actually a little bit far forward and does end up going down. Takes a long time, though. And then Hanwha Life make the choice to go deeper onto Ruler, which Zeus is stacking up his Narvar really well here. Flashes to look for it, but is still taken out right before, so that's why he went for that play. And while they do get Ruler, they lose a lot more. The Galio ultimate and the shields come through, make it so that they still do win the fight technically, and then from here I'm like, GENG, I mean, you are winning, but you're not winning that one. As there is still a gold lead everywhere except the bottom lane, really. I mean, it's a small one for Ruler still.
We're doing the Baron.
And Viper does carry these sometimes, but I just don't know. The deficit is still huge.
Yeah.
And Canyon,
all
he's
right.
got ult. I mean, who's going to go in?
Let's see it. Peanut, he's going to ult in. Just try to get there on time.
And they just walk away. They're like, cool story. We weren't even close to smite range on that one. Now your ult's gone.
NTP on Zeka.
Zeka is going to have his ult in a moment, but GENG are not interested in fighting anymore.
It's a nice amount of respect from GENG. Like, even though they're so far ahead, like, and now they just turn onto it because they have Ocean Soul.
Well, they also just saw
they can just do whatever they want.
They saw Delight backing, and like you said, they have Ocean Soul, they're full health, and they do not care. This time, no Peanut ultimate, but he's still in the pit.
They can tank it forever. Keen trying to get over here, not going to drop a solid, and they're going to pull off of the Baron once again. So... getting a little bit iffy now. Canyon gonna get taunted, has to go in. It's a lot of damage here to the front line. Peanut does get taken down. Canyon still alive, and Zeus just being shredded by Ruler, who is definitely screaming for a penta, even though he's only got a double. And they should just win the game. As Viper trying to get away from here, we do have a charm coming in, and they might be able to keep them alive. Canyon, he wants more, as he's gonna get taunted. I think GENG are having a bit of fun at this point, but they will enjoy it as well, as if they can take out a lot of these members, they will be in a good spot.
Keen's fine.
You know, it was all part of their plan. They got everyone.
Yeah.
Great job, GENG. Well done.
Toby's getting it done. I want everyone, if we go to the replay, to watch Ruler's positioning in the fight, because they eventually just decide to kill Peanut, because Ruler is not going to be touched. And if they kill Peanut, they won't lose the 50-50, and the Ruler can clean up the rest of the fight. And it's just really impressive how quickly this decision is made by GENG. Like, look at where Ruler is. Delight goes away, right? So he's like, no one can engage on me. Kill Peanut. I kite back. Zeus wants to come in. Can't get to me. Zeka has to run away. And that's the fight. Just that simply. They secure the Baron. There's no enemy jungler. Viper, really nice ult here, and then things get a little bit weird because there's roots and Renekton's melee, and you know he's handbagging a little bit.
Diving turrets.
Yeah, turrets exist, and Canyon's not having a fun time, and taunts and all that. But ultimately, this is also funny where he gets to knock up onto Keen when he's in turret range. But Keen, they don't have enough damage to kill him, and they will eventually clean up. And that should be likely the game, but because it was a little bit of fun gaming, some happy gaming for GENG.
How about an Elder Flip? Get a little Elder Flip action in this game, why not?
I suppose so. You know, they don't end up getting too much from that Baron in terms of like inhibitor damage, but they got 4,000 gold, which puts them 9,000 gold ahead. I like their chances on said flip, but it may still be a flip. Peanut has ult and flash. Viper is on 3 items. Maybe Valdez. Hanwha Life can steal this one away.
Yep, we got the giant copium truck behind us, I think.
I just don't know if they're
trying to help us out.
They have to defend the Baron before they can have a conversation with us about Elder. And right now they're struggling with the Baron defense.
Yeah, I do hope they ask our opinion. The engage comes in from Peanut. It's not really an engage. Now we have the real engage, the follow-up from the Rakan and the Galio, but it's just not there. And meanwhile, their backline is being ravaged as everybody's getting taken down. The giant wallets here of GENG are enough, and they will take this one down in a 2-1 fashion.
Yep, they do not go to the Elder Flip. They do not defend the Baron, and Ruler kites back 9 kills on the Varus and GENG. It was interesting in game 1. Hanwha had a lead. They tossed it. In game 2, it was very back and forth, but in game 3, GENG was the team to take the lead first, and they never let it go with a phenomenal draft here with the Renekton mid lane from Chovy. First time in 2 years. A pick he's shown us before. They play the Renekton into the Galio, they play the Aurora into the Gnar, and the Varus naturally wins that bottom lane, and 3 winning lanes is a recipe for our best LCK team to pick up their 15th series win of the season.
Yeah, kind of insane. At this point, you mentioned it at the top of the day, which feels like about 8 hours ago. It was only about 2.5. That GENG, if they get through Hanwha Life Esports, there's really nobody else to challenge them. I mean, after this, they have DRX.
KT is the big question mark.
KT and Bro, which, remember match 90 of last season, right?
Bro's done
last
it, KT's done it.
This one's match 88. It's not quite the same, but it is the last match for both GENG and Bro.
I don't see it right now. I will be telling you right now, I will not be predicting GENG to lose either of those matches. However, we've seen it happen before. I almost voted for Ruler. I thought he had a really good series, to be honest with you, Valdez. But
it's fair.
You know where my vote went. But I know where
Canyon?
most votes were going.
Duro? I don't know. Wolf, who's it? There's no way I could possibly know.
Well, you're not going to give Keen any credit?
His horn was good. His Aurora as well. I mean, that was like G-E-N-G, GENG, fighting. Yes.
Well, I hope David is having fun on this busking right now. Probably got the update that his team that he came to support today did in fact win. Ruler, this moment was like actually insane. That was like the one angle for like a second where Hanwha maybe had a thing, and it just wasn't. It wasn't.
It was a thing, and then it was just a fling.
this fight here too looks so good in the outset until Keen shows up and just does a bajillion damage, and Viper is pushed away.
So you did vote for Keen?
No, it wasn't Keen.
Oh. Yeah, I think when Keen missed literally everything on the Xayah, that was kind of the moment where I was like, yeah, it's probably not going to be him.
Yeah, I really hope it's a split vote. I think Ruler deserves a lot of credit. I think Duro deserves a decent amount of credit in this game as well. But we all did see the Penta. we all do know that when it's a close vote for GENG, it's not. When it's like, oh, it could be anyone, I'm not sure. Everyone does the safe vote.
It's like, oh, 11 out of 13, wow.
The safe vote is looking like it's going to be Chovy's 10th POM of the season. This was a moment where, like, eventually they had to do something, right? Peanut had to go in. They had to try to get backline access, and really just kites back. There's a redemption on top of him. He's like, nice try, bro. See you in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing to mention. This is probably going to be our, you know, our big matchup in the road to MSI playoffs.
MSI for sure.
So that's a best of 5. That maybe goes the way of HLE Esports as it has in a lot of their best of 5s they've had over the last couple of years. But we'll see. We'll see how that looks. I think this was a nice little teaser.
I don't think that Han will play badly in the series. Game 1's Herald disaster will probably be the biggest pressure and pain point, and probably the biggest discussion amongst the coaching staff. They played well in Game 2. They were able to wrestle that one back. And in Game 3, it was a bit of a draft problem and lane priority problem, you know? Like, it's hard to play better and do more with what you had based on draft. Chovy will pick up POM.
No way!
You and I both knew after Game 1 that if they won the series, it wasn't going to be.
We knew immediately, yeah. 13-2 told the story, and then he got to play Renekton into Galio. That was very fun. 1,000 points here for Chovy. I think the real issue is that, you know, he had the Penta, he had the Game 1. There wasn't really anybody else that was like, he deserves you know, a big shout out, like as you mentioned, maybe Ruler, because he had some good moments. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was just kind of the obvious vote here.
We just
for Chovy.
We just keep racking them up. Wadid's looking for that 3,000 palm points, and maybe it will actually happen. He'll basically have to get every single one for the rest of the year, but
yeah,
it could happen.
It could happen. I don't think it's actually going to happen, but we'll see. Guys, we do have the interview up next, so stay tuned for that with Chovy for the 10th time this season. Should be a lot of fun. Just waiting for the call to get into that. Looks like we're ready, or about to be ready.
Nearly ready. Chovy's always ready.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Chovy on the side of GENG, who get to continue their undefeated streak. Chovy, I see you here again. Yeah, I see you so often on the stage. You've defeated the second place team, HLE Esports, to continue the undefeated 15 winning streak and reached 1,000 POM points. How do you feel? First of all, HLE Esports is a very strong team. They're dominant and we could have lost, but being able to continue our winning streak makes me very happy. And it was a battle between first and second place teams. And it was such a phenomenal match. Your 21 game winning streak was broken, and that's just how intense it was today. So what do you think decided the outcome of today's match? Since both teams are quite good, I think it's just that we just happen to do better trades and we just have better team fighting rather than, you know, some specific aspect that decided today's outcome. And we got your Azir in Game 1. And last time we asked about the Rylai's pick and your itemization, and today you took Lethal Tempo Runes and brought Nash's and Rylai's. So was there any changes due to the patch? You know, Nashor's actually is a lot cheaper now due to the patch, and Rylai's is actually a must-buy item. And instead of going for a fully tanky Azir build, because of the Gwen, I believe that we needed a little bit more damage, so that's why I went with those runes and the itemization. And Chovy got his second pentakill of his career. Please give it up for him. And let's take a look at that replay.
예, 몰랐습니다.
You know, it was the first pentakill after 4 years. Did you know that you were going to get your pentakill here? Yeah, I had no idea at this moment. You know, everyone was actually, their enemy was all just bunched up together and grouped really nicely. And then the moment I got my triple kill, I expected that this was my moment for my penta. And in the process, it looks like your teammates were really helping you out. Yeah, my teammates. They didn't kill my kills, they didn't KS, and they really were so patient with me. So did Ruler get jealous? Yeah, Ruler, you know, when Ruler realized that this was going to be a penta, he actually just backed away immediately to let me have it. So, do you want to say anything to Ruler, who probably wants to really get another POM? You know, if Ruler gets any angle to get a POM, I'll definitely let him take that spot. Oh, it says, if Chovy gets a pentakill, she will chug her cast. And she is doing it right now. Wow. Let's give it up for the Genji fans. How does that look? Did you like that? Yeah. How refreshing. That's probably how you got the energy to perform so well today, Chovy. I'm sure that you can even aim for the best cast moment. Let's get back into the game for game 3. After seeing the enemy pick Gnar, you flex picked Renekton and sent him mid. So just from looking at the comp, we just thought that it would be so much playable if we were able to pick Aurora. And so we were able to pick the Aurora and Renekton. And I think those two were definitely just staying as the flex pick until the enemy picked their last pick. So is Renekton good against Galio? Yeah, Renekton's pretty good against Galio. And for Galio to actually play against Renekton, there are a lot of limitations for itemization, so I think that's just something that we were trying to focus and capitalize off of as well. And so round 2 is coming to an end, and Genji has only 3 remaining matches. You'll be facing DRX, KT, and Bro. So are you confident you'll finish round 2 undefeated? You know, rather than being confident, we'll just be careful and take extra steps to ensure that we're able to finish undefeated. And that's the end of the interview with Chovy, and back to the space. Thank you.